Michael's Rewards. Hurry in. Sale ends November 12th.
Extra hard studying calls for something extra. So you serve up new DiGiorno fully stuffed crust pizza. Because pizza with an extra layer of cheese stuffed edge to edge throughout the entire crust always hits the spot. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
Hi, William Shatner here. It's the Medicare annual enrollment period, and this year, it's simple. 1, before the deadline, call the number below. 2, check your zip code for a Medicare Advantage plan with prescriptions, dental care, and the benefit that adds money back to your Social Security check every month. 3, you'll find out what you're eligible for. AEP has a deadline. Call now.
I called to find a plan that covers more of my dental expenses.
I call every year to make sure my doctor is still in my plan.
I called to find a plan with lower copays.
I called to see if my zip code has a plan with the benefit that adds money back to my Social Security check.
I call every year to make sure my plan's copays didn't go up.
Millions of people have called the Medicare Coverage Helpline. You should too. AEP has a deadline, so don't delay. Call now.
Call 1-800-975-4570. That's 1-800-975-4570 now.
Stronger winds, stronger surge, and stronger storms makes a stronger hurricane season. You know what else is getting stronger? The #1 most trusted TV news network, the Weather Channel. Now available for anyone to stream on the new and improved TV app. Go to streamtwc.com to start your free 7-day trial.
Well, thanks for staying with us here for continuing coverage as we track Tropical Storm Nicole, expected to be a landfalling hurricane later on tonight, likely just after midnight tonight, hitting us here on the east coast of Florida. A rare November landfall in Florida. The last time we had a landfall here 37 years ago. This is in the month of November. It's actually been 87 years since we had a hurricane risk here in especially South Florida, but the east coast of Florida, 1935. So it is a rare event, not unprecedented, but certainly a rare event. Right now, 70-mile-per-hour winds, pressure 985, west movement at 13, lashing the Bahamas right now and on its way, basically on a westward track, towards, say, West Palm or Fort Pierce and towards, say, Vero Beach. We do have hurricane warnings in effect here. We do have tropical storm warnings in effect. You can see, though, tropical storm force winds extend out 400-plus miles from the center. So all this area that's shaded in yellow has tropical storm force winds, and we've had that onshore flow north side of this the whole time. So this is why we've had such beach erosion, and the beaches have been devastated here in Florida. Right now in West Palm, gusts to 28, 45 in Melbourne at a buoy offshore, 54-mile-per-hour winds. That's all eventually going to come right into Florida, and we may have gusts that are 75-plus miles per hour. I think we might see some power outages as a result. We're also going to see some flooding, but hurricane warnings here, highlighted in purple on the map. That's going to go past Daytona here, back down toward North Palm, Melbourne, right in the middle of that, Titusville, Cape Canaveral, a place like West Palm, right in that. These areas highlighted in red, these are all places we can see tropical storm force conditions, including Orlando, Kissimmee, Tampa, St. Pete, Sarasota, Cedar Key, Tallahassee. Don't rest on this one. This is coming your way as well. It's going to produce some really gusty winds. We've got a lot of trees around Tallahassee. I think some tree limbs will come down, maybe even some trees, and some power outages. 3 to 5 feet of storm surge here on the East Coast. Depending on where the low goes, does it come offshore here? It could actually produce then an onshore flow and a lot of surge through the Big Bend area. That's a very surge prone location, so that could be devastating as well. A place like St. Mark's, Apalachicola, heads up for you, Cedar Key to Suwannee. Then notice that we could get 2 to 4 feet of storm surge all the way up past Charleston, South Carolina. Flood watch in effect here. Heavy rainfall rates and in some training thunderstorms with some of these outer bands, you're going to see some intersections fill up with some water. I-4, I-95, stay off of them. Eventually I-75 as well. There's the track coming through Florida, eventually making the turn and rolling its way through the mid-Atlantic states as well as the Northeast. But here's a look at that timing, coming in with a landfall around midnight or just after, and then racing its way across central Florida. I-4 going to be hit and hit hard, Jackie.
As if a tropical cyclone wasn't enough to deal with, here we go, our first winter storm of the season. This is a wintry blast of snow affecting parts of the northern plains. This is conditions right now in Montana, where you've had quite a bit of snow in the town of Fairfield yesterday. This is just 35 miles northwest of Great Falls, where a winter storm warning is in effect for the area tonight, and they are not alone. These alerts have been extended now, allowing us to name our first winter storm, named Alejandra. So we've got blizzard warnings, ice storm warnings, and winter weather advisories that extend from Montana through the Dakotas into parts of Nebraska and into northern parts of Minnesota. Of course, the great concern here for travel, as we're going to have very strong winds and snow coming down at the same time, limiting visibility and making travel treacherous, if not impossible altogether. The snowfall amounts, as we look at our first snow in some of these areas, is nearly off the charts. We're up there at over a foot of accumulation expected for northeastern North Dakota and in northwestern parts of Minnesota. Notice some of the more populated areas like Minneapolis, Sioux Falls, even Fargo look like you're going to be missing out on the big snows, but Bismarck into Minot, into International Falls, you could get up there in a half of a foot to a foot range. The timing of all of this, now we're starting out in the warmer sector, so a lot of this starts out as rain and then some freezing rain. And remember, freezing rain comes down as liquid and then it ices on contact with everything. So a glaze of ice as much as a quarter of an inch, maybe even 4/10 of an inch in spots in the Dakotas will give way then to snow on top of that. So driving on a layer of ice with snow can really catch you off guard. You're going to want to stay off the roads, I-90, I-94. This all wraps up by midday on Friday, but we've got a severe weather angle to all this as well. That warm air out ahead of it. We've got increasing moisture, which means severe weather, including a few tornadoes, will be possible tomorrow from Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, down towards Kansas City. Our extended coverage of Nicole continues, and remember to stay tuned to the Weather Channel TV on your smart TV, where you can see live coverage even on Hulu.
Did you know Google makes a phone? Sure, it's beautiful, but it does things other phones can't do, which is how it takes stunning photos in the dark, can edit annoying items out of pictures, and unblur faces. Why, it'll even put some of that genius in your ears, or on your wrist. Beautifully, of course. Introducing the new Google Pixel Watch, Google Pixel Buds Pro, and our newest Google Pixel phones. Switch to Verizon and get Google Pixel 7 Pro on them with select trade-in and 5G unlimited plans.
Introducing Domino's new leftovers. It's the same delicious pizza you expect from Domino's, but instead of eating it all tonight, you save some for tomorrow. Sure, it's hot and melty and really delicious, but resist the temptation and you have Domino's leftovers. Domino's leftovers are delicious straight from the toaster oven. They're delicious straight from the skillet.
Who reheats cold pizza?
Right now, you can try Domino's leftovers yourself when you get 2 medium 2-topping pizzas for $6.99 each. Enjoy one tonight, love one tomorrow.
When you can't sleep, try ZzzQuil Pure Z's gummies from the world's #1 sleep aid brand. Its special formula helps you fall asleep naturally with an optimal dose of melatonin, so you can wake up refreshed for better sleep like never before.
Put an end to the dreaded dust cloud every time you empty your vacuum with the revolutionary Shark Wand-Vac self-empty system. It empties itself after every clean, trapping the mess for up to 100 times less dust in your home. The Shark Wand-Vac self-empty system.
A thin, painted line. The only thing between you and a life-changing accident. But are these lines enough? A Subaru with eyesight watches the lines for any danger. And can automatically stop itself.
Is everyone okay? I'm okay.
Your family is safer in a 3-row Subaru Ascent. Love. It's what makes Subaru, Subaru.
With thousands of live and on-demand classes to fit any schedule.
If you just added speed, you're my people, Peloton.
And world-class instructors, Peloton is the gift to get you moving.
Keep working, Peloton family.
Rent the Peloton Bike or Bike Plus, month to month, no commitments. Terms apply.
It's Walmart's Black Friday deals for days. Every Monday, huge deals will go live. Join Walmart Plus and you can shop online 7 hours early. So the only question is it Monday yet? That's Walmart's Black Friday deals for days.
Dish makes TV easy. Now with all of your favorite live TV and streaming apps all in one place.
All right, here we go.
Discovery Plus. Dish, streaming and live TV all in one place.
When you get a chip in your windshield, trust Safelite.
This couple counts on their SUV as they travel for their small business. So when they got a chip in their windshield, they brought it to Safelite for a same-day in-shop repair. We repaired the chip right away, and with their insurance, it was no cost to them. Plus, to protect their glass, we installed new wipers too. That's service the way you need it.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
Stover's makes you happy full.
Sorry, we're busy.
So busy.
So cheesy.
So creamy. What? We are busy. Busy eating this mac and cheese.
Stover's.
And breaking news from the National Hurricane Center. Tropical Storm Nicole is now Hurricane Nicole. So it's jumped up to that 5 miles an hour to 75 miles an hour. The planes have been out there all day waiting for that. That's not going to be a big difference in what we see, certainly on the coast and eventual overall impacts. But obviously now with that center coming ashore into the Treasure Coast tonight, you need to be prepared for what could be even a little bit of a stronger wind and obviously some more power outages. We are locked and loaded tonight, ladies and gentlemen, with live team coverage. As you can see back in the studio with Jackie Jarris, Mike Bettis. We've got Justin Michaels. He is in Orlando this evening talking about the big closures there at Disney World. And we're going to continue to watch the tremendous beating that this east coast of Florida is taking today, all the way up to Georgia, all the way up to South Carolina, well outside the cone. We know it's on its way, again, toward the coastline tonight, and it will make approach and inland past about 1 o'clock this evening, it looks like, from some of the later computer models. And if you look at the radar, if you just watch whether you have a radar on an app or you have one that you're watching on the Weather Channel when Jackie and Mike show it, you'll see, the outer part of that where the more persistent rain and wind is. So some of the worst weather in terms of wind and rain is in that. But obviously this 485-mile wide wind field that this thing possesses, which is just incredible, has pushed all that wind over the water and created this 2-day now bashing of the beaches. And that's going to continue. We're going through high tide at about 8:15 tonight. We're going to go through it tomorrow morning at about 9 a.m. So here's the result of that. During the day today, because of what Ian did and now what Nicole has been doing, we've got about a dozen structures here that are compromised. And not just homes, but buildings, condominiums. And the one I'm standing on in front of this Pirates Cove here was evacuated. The highest amount of evacuees from one of the buildings, to my understanding, has been 100. So that's a lot of people to just ask to leave the confines of their home where they were just going to hunker down tonight, let this thing come due, let the ocean do what it's going to do. But they've been asked to leave this evening because these buildings are compromised because of what's going on. We've been showing you the pictures all day, either by drone or, video standing there where the waves are coming up, beating on the beaches, taking even out more large structures like cement pilings. We're looking at even underground waterways that are, sewer drains that are going out, being exposed now. Any kind of effort between Ian and Nicole is pretty much to no resolve because there's no way that's going to hold back what this thing is pushing in tonight. Again, you're just looking at these pictures. This is where I am right now. This restroom behind me has fallen in. We're going to see the wave run up, probably come about halfway up the street, and even, again, right to the end of this building, there's nothing left to hold back the water. So it's just pounding and pounding and pounding on the building here, Jackie. Unfortunately, a lot of folks, that thought they were able hit with it this evening, kind of in the comfort of their own home or not. They're being asked to move inland to Daytona, and it's a whole different world over there. The winds aren't as strong, and obviously you don't have that wave action to deal with. But up here in Volusia County, it's all about the wave action.
Very unnerving, and the worst is yet to come there for sure, Jim. And now that the sun is down, the sun is down earlier for folks. I think it's more unnerving under those kinds of conditions. Well, if you missed it at the top of the hour there, Jim broke the news that Nicole is now a hurricane. It is a Category 1 hurricane, maximum wind 75 miles per hour. The hurricane hunters have been actively flying into this. It has made landfall over Grand Bahama Island right there, and they sampled stronger winds as well as lower pressure. So the pressure is dropped to 980 millibars. The winds have increased, but keep in mind that there's really very little difference in terms of impacts from a very strong tropical storm and a lower end Category 1 hurricane. So we are still on track, staying the course for the impacts and what we can expect going forward here with Nicole. This is a giant storm, a very large wind field. The tropical storm force winds go out well over 400 miles from the center of the storm, and a lot of that is, it's not symmetrical all the way around. A lot of it is on the north side of that. We've been feeling the impacts all day long, and the wave action has been running up and will continue to do so as landfall is expected overnight tonight. Check out the winds in Jacksonville, gust at 38 miles per hour, Melbourne at 40 miles per hour. And this thing is still about 130 miles away from the coast of Florida, and it's still doing this kind of damage. So we've got a ways to go here tonight. Those hurricane warnings have been extended now to include West Palm Beach, going all the way up here to Daytona, and almost everybody else is now under tropical storm warnings. Water level rises will be a big concern. High tide, depending where you're at on the Atlantic coast, anywhere between about 8 o'clock to as late as 10:30 tonight. Later, farther up the coast that we go. And the most reasonable worst case scenario is water level rises between 3 and 5 feet. That is life threatening. You got to stay away from the water. Now, the fresh water that's going to be coming down, heavy downpours leading to flash flooding. We've got flood watches in effect for 2 to 4, perhaps even as much as a half a foot of rainfall before all is said and done. Some weakening can be expected after landfall by tomorrow as this thing moves south of Orlando, but we're still going to have all kinds of hazards, perhaps a second landfall in the Big Bend area here late Thursday into Friday, and then this thing is going to get picked up with our winter storm and accelerate into the mid-Atlantic and into the Northeast. Jim, we were talking earlier about the wind field on this thing. That's 485 miles. You said the last one you could think of was Sandy. That was 1,000 miles, but that was diameter that goes all the way across. This one's only half of that, right? So it's pretty close. It could be comparable. Just incredible to see these impacts so far away from the center already.
Yeah, it really is. And what's interesting too, Jackie, maybe you remember one of the tweets that came out talking about, once this becomes a hurricane, or if it became a hurricane, Nicole would be about the second latest landfalling that we had. I think Kate was the other one. I don't remember the exact dates.
Yes,
but it's definitely one of the latest.
The latest on record, and only the second time that we've had 2 landfalling hurricanes or systems in the month of November. It's hard to believe. Back in August, you can buy a tropical system, right? And here we are with more tropical systems affecting the U.S. in November than we had during the peak of what typically is the peak of the season.
Real lopsided system, but impacts nonetheless, regardless if they come in August or certainly here into November. So again, guys, we are standing right in front of Pirates Cove. This is one of the condominiums that's been condemned. Behind me, you can see, the lifeguard pier, if you will, the lifeguard stand, if you will, which is a road kind of takes us down. It's a beach access road for everybody here off of Atlantic. And this public restroom has pretty much, from this building here, split in half and fallen in because of the tremendous wave action that's coming in and just undermining everything. And this is kind of a mini look at what they're really concerned about, okay? Whether it be a house or even a larger scale condominium, this is the concern. Do we undermine enough of these buildings tonight to have them fall into the ocean? And for some of the homes that I saw, especially down by Wilbur by the Sea, that has been one of the hardest hit areas. There's a row of homes down there that are going to fall in tonight. I mean, there's nothing to stop the waiver on them. Nothing. So it's just going to continue to eat away at the sand and eventually get under the structure, and it's going to fall. Just like you see here. Just like you see with this restaurant. Now, because that's concrete, it's probably holding together a lot better than a wooden structure would in the fact that it's going to be a home. So just horrible news here, horrible scenes. I'm sure will unfold tomorrow here in Volusia County. Again, guys, evacuation to about a dozen buildings, homes, and also larger structures, as we talked about. That kind of went on about 3 o'clock today. A lot of, police officers, fire trucks, and whatnot going building by building here and making sure people had evacuated. And that's, really been the goal, to get everybody out, obviously, before nightfall. We're going to find out, again, I hope we'll talk to the chief of police here pretty soon to find out if they've accomplished just that. So stick around for that. But right now, I'm going to kind of toss it over to Justin Michaels even a little bit earlier because of what we got. Justin, seen the wind pick up here a little bit, and that's going to happen with the gradient as it comes ashore. What's the wind been like in Orlando?
It was actually windier earlier today, Jim. It's kind of calmed down, but it feels like it might be picking up a little bit. We know that's going to change, though, as the storm gets closer and closer and closer, the center of the storm, I should say, to where we are here in Orlando. We are kind of in the center of Orlando near Lake Eola. That's what's behind me. And what they have done with this lake and many of the other lakes around Orlando and this entire area, this part of Florida has hundreds of little lakes all over the place. And at least here in Orlando, what they did in preparation for this storm was lower these lakes, because where I'm standing right now during Ian just a few weeks ago was underwater. It flooded this entire area, these lakes going well over their banks. And we actually talked with the mayor, Buddy Dyer, here in Orlando earlier today about the continued work being done to recover from Ian just as Nicole comes to town. Listen.
It's unfortunate that we're still cleaning up from Ian. We've had probably about 90% of the debris removed, so there's still a little bit of debris around, but we've lowered our lake levels. We're ready for whatever rain we're going to get. We don't think there's going to be a big wind event, but our citizens are ready as well.
And it's important. And remember, here in Florida, they know how to manage these types of things. They lower lake levels. They also close things like Disney. Yes, Disney is closed tonight, and many of the Disney parks, also Universal Studios, Orlando, SeaWorld, all the parks that people come from all over the world to come to, well, they're closed tonight. And in fact, they even said tomorrow as you're waking up, a big thing for the kids, of course, is to have breakfast with some of the characters. They said the characters will not be at breakfast in the morning, and there's no word yet specifically on the reopening plan for many of those parks, including Walt Disney World. So we know they will eventually reopen, and the good news is as this pushes through by, early to mid-afternoon tomorrow, things are going to be looking a lot better around here and for the weekend as well. Something else, Jim, they also closed the airport here. I know several airports along the East Coast and here in Central Florida closed this afternoon and this evening because of this hurricane now. So good news there. But Jim, something very interesting from the airport here, MCO, Orlando International. They were really encouraging people, even if you had plans to come to the airport and you have nowhere else to go, do not come here. That airport is not a storm shelter, and they were urging people not to come to the airport until it reopens. So definitely some tough times around here right now, but we know Nicole's going to move out of here by midday tomorrow, and people will ideally be able to get their weekend back and running. Jim, there's a big music festival scheduled for Orlando this weekend to the tune of about 300,000 people will come here, and we know that has been put on hold for the Thursday check-ins for many people at the hotels around here. But as far as the actual event that we understand is still a go starting on Friday. Jim, and to you.
All right, I want to talk to Chief Michael Fowler here a little bit about what's been going on with this evacuation. We certainly heard of what was going on earlier today. Has that been completed? Have there been any complications with that?
Yeah, we were just able to complete the evacuation. We had 6 additional structures that were deemed to be unsafe by our chief building official this afternoon. It took us several hours. It took the help of the Volusia Sheriff's Office to come in. We went door to door in each one of those. Every one of them was a high-rise condo. Unfortunately, we had about 200 people who had not heeded the warning and the mandatory evacuation that was issued. They were supposed to have left on their own starting at 10 o'clock this morning. We ended up with very labor-intensive work to get done.
And you, right now, to the best of your knowledge, you've got everybody out.
Yeah, for the most part, everybody's gone. We've had a few that have refused. We haven't physically removed them, but, you know, we got their names, their contact information, and their next of kin, so we can let their next of kin know.
Absolutely. Have we seen any structures at this point that you've been concerned about, whether they be a home or even a condominium, give way yet?
We haven't seen the actual structure give way yet. You know, a lot of the supporting material has given way. Of course, we've had pools go in and all that.
Right.
But right now, we have not had a full structural collapse.
All right, and again, tonight, you're obviously concerned about the high tide that's coming in right now, and then again tomorrow morning, right?
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen, even at low tide, the surf is pounding on the dunes. We have so many seawalls that are down from Ian that as soon as the high tide comes with this wind, we're going to have big problems. There is a real risk that we're going to have a major structure go down in this area.
Yeah, and that's a good reason to get everybody out. So total structures now, again, to be backed. I just want to get that number so I
We have evacuated 11 high-rise structures in our 5.5 miles of beach. Our chief building official determined there's a good chance they're going to come down, so we got everybody out we could.
Well, that's all you need to hear from the engineer. Okay. I mean, I've never seen so much of a building exposed, frankly.
Yeah, I've been here 30 years. There's never been anything like this as far as the erosion goes, how far it's intruded on these properties. We got a real problem.
All right, Chief, I appreciate it. I know you're busy. Thank you, and congratulations on a successful evac, it sounds like, for getting most people out of harm's way through here. So, Mike Bettis, kind of interesting when I think about this hurricane. First of all, it's one of the later ones I've ever covered. It's certainly the farthest I've ever been away from a center, but probably about as close to the big impacts as one could get, frankly. And from the sounds of it, you know, you're talking about huge structures, some of them potentially falling into the sea tonight. Unbelievable.
Aren't you blown away by that, even the premise of that, Jim? You know, I thought it was on Monday. I thought it was really telling when the Florida emergency manager said that we had some buildings that were compromised because of Ian. He thought that there would be numerous buildings that would fail as a result of Nicole, and we may get some proof of that if some of the buildings there cannot hold up.
I remember that 8:40 in the morning. I was talking to Kevin Guthrie, the director of emergency operations and management here in Florida for the state, and he mentioned that very thing, Mike, just like you talked about. So some great foresight from the state of Florida, as is usually typically the case, okay? And now, sadly, you know, what he thought could happen may happen, even more so. There's a higher likelihood of that tonight or tomorrow morning at these times of high tide. So, guys, again, hunker down. If you haven't left yet and you're watching us and you need to get out, please do so. There's a reason why they asked you to leave, and we just talked about it.
You'll always remember buying your first car and buying your starter home, or whatever this is. But the things that last a lifetime, like happiness, love, and confidence, you can't buy those, but you can invest in them. We believe that your investments should work harder for the future you imagine. And that's where our strategic investing approach can help. T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence.
Okay, Fitbit, let's get today's cardio. Almost there. Got it. Listen to your body, feel your power. Fitbit by Google.
Life doesn't stop for diabetes. Be ready for every moment with Glucerna. It's the #1 doctor-recommended brand that's scientifically designed to help manage your blood sugar. Live every moment. Glucerna.
With thousands of live and on-demand classes to fit any schedule.
If you just added speed, you're my people, Peloton.
And world-class instructors, Peloton is the gift to get you moving.
Keep working, Peloton family.
Try Peloton risk-free with a 30-day home trial. Terms apply.
During Walmart's Black Friday Deals for Days, every Monday is a huge deal. Get a $79 HP Chromebook, plus other hot deals. Join Walmart Plus and you can shop online 7 hours early. Head to Walmart's Black Friday Deals for Days.
Certified turbocharger, suspension, and fuel injection.
Translation? Certified goosebumps.
Certified from headlamp to tailpipe.
That's certified head turns.
And it's all backed by our unlimited mileage warranty.
That means unlimited peace of mind. Mercedes-Benz certified pre-owned. Translation: the Mercedes of your dreams is closer than you think.
This the biggest bounce of the summer.
Hey, if you come in and come down, play. If you feel too shy, then watch for me. Watch for me.
Shake it. This the biggest bounce of the summer. If you ain't coming, that's a bummer.
Watch for me.
This the biggest bounce of the summer.
Put an end to the dreaded dust cloud every time you empty your vacuum with the revolutionary Shark Wand-Vac self-empty system. It empties itself after every clean, trapping the mess for up to 100 times less dust in your home. The Shark Wand-Vac self-empty system.
Extra hard studying calls for something extra. So you serve up new DiGiorno fully stuffed crust pizza. Because pizza with an extra layer of cheese stuffed edge to edge throughout the entire crust always hits the spot. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
I'm Mike Corey.
The cocktail of excitement and terror.
Let's go on an uncharted adventure.
This is a Camp Lejeune legal alert. Attention veterans and families impacted by toxic water at Marine Base Camp Lejeune. Important legal rights are now available for those who lived or served at Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987. If you suffered an injury that may be caused by water contamination, call 1-800-418-3623 or visit youhavealawyer.com for a free case evaluation. For over 30 years, Marines and their family members were exposed to toxic chemicals in Camp Lejeune water. The VA has acknowledged that exposure to these chemicals can cause a number of serious health conditions, including cancer, birth defects, Parkinson's disease, liver damage, and other illnesses. A new law now allows victims of Camp Lejeune water contamination to obtain financial compensation for their injuries, even if benefits were denied in the past. However, there is a limited time to file a claim. Find out if you qualify. Call 1-800-418-3623 or visit youhavealawyer.com. That's 1-800-418-3623.
Stronger winds, stronger surge, and stronger storms makes a stronger hurricane season. You know what else is getting stronger? The #1 most trusted TV news network, the Weather Channel. Now available for anyone to stream on the new and improved TV app.
This is epic!
With real-time radar and maps to track all the action. Trust the strength in numbers. The Weather Channel, available on these platforms. Go to streamtwc.com to start your free 7-day trial.
Yeah, welcome back to our continuing coverage of what is now Hurricane Nicole, and eventually later on tonight, probably tomorrow morning, really, we will have our second latest landfall in history, at least since records began that we can keep track of here in the United States. On what was a very lopsided season where the middle was basically missing, and then everything just kind of run up here toward the end. But either way you slice it, the damage is done with this one because of the huge wind field, the wave action. You can see it behind me here. This structure already kind of split in half because it was undercut. And this is really, I think, so analogous to what they're concerned about. We just talked to the police chief, and he was telling us, how 11 structures have been evacuated, all condos. okay, with hundreds of people in them. People got asked to evacuate because some of them decided to stay back. And this is why, because once you undermine the structure's support, it's going to fall. That's what happened in through here. All right, we're awaiting high tide at about 8:15 this morning. That's going to come in. I want to show you what we had earlier today. This was where we were behind the Hawaiian Inn. Okay, and we watched 2 trees come down when that moved in, and just constantly, little by little, the waves would come in at high tide and take more and more sand. They would undermine, you know, the cement or the brick overlay, and then eventually that falls. That becomes a part of the debris wash that's hammering still more and more of the coastline. It's just an unending series of bashing that's going on the coast right now. It's an open wound from Ian that is not healing, but it's getting worse. It's getting infected. All right, that's a good way to describe it. You can see some of the pictures from the air here, from Mike's weather page. I mean, look at this. Look at this. No structural integrity left there. You wonder how much more of that is going tonight, Jackie. You know, low tide at least gave us the ability to see, you know, what went today. Now all that water is coming up and starting to beat on those areas once again. Again, as we're expecting this high tide to at least start at about 8:15 this evening. Back to you.
Just devastating to see that. We know Ian caused so much damage, and now to see further damage in some of these areas that thought they could recover pretty quickly. Unfortunately, now it prolongs all of that. We want to take you to Charleston, South Carolina right now, because this storm does not stop once it gets through Florida. This is going to keep going into Georgia, into South Carolina, eventually into the mid-Atlantic and into the Northeast. Charleston, this is going to be west of you. It's going to be inland, but that puts you into the zone where we have a threat for tornadoes, and you're going to have onshore flow. So storm surge is going to be a problem. So here's a look at the latest track for Nicole. And there you can see this is going to be moving through South Carolina Friday afternoon. It will be a weakened storm by then with maximum winds around 35 miles per hour, but it's going to get absorbed with that winter storm, Alejandra, and it will accelerate very quickly once it gets through that, and will be out of the U.S. by the end of the day on Saturday. But with onshore flow, that means we're going to see some significant water level rises again, which could be as much as 2 to 4 feet. So that's the big concern going forward here across the South Carolina coast up towards Surf City and Myrtle Beach, maybe around 1 to 2 feet. So still critical to stay away from the water, stay away from the coast. We've already had run up out ahead of this, and a high risk of rip currents has been an issue here today, which is tough when you're looking at nice weather. But here's a look at some of the winds as those will increase late tonight and will continue through the day on Thursday to increase. There you can see 35 to 40 mile per hour wind gusts at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and that's going to be probably the peak of this. So your wind will not be as big of an issue as your tornado threat, as well as your beach and coastal erosion. This thing has just been chewing up the coastline and will continue to do so all the way up through the Carolinas. There's a look at your Torcons. The numbers aren't huge, but if there's a number, there's a risk. Very common in these feeder bands, especially for tropical tornadoes to develop. A lot of times they'll develop offshore and then work their way inland. That's the latest here, Jim. We want to get back to you for what's happening there. Can you give us an idea of how much erosion has happened today compared to where the day started from the damage from Ian?
Yeah, probably better off, Christina, if you could show some of the video again. Maybe there's something that we can catch in there. But from what I've heard and what from talking to a few folks around, there's been as much as 3 to 10 feet deep. In other words, back toward the structures that was there. Now, some of these structures don't have any left, so they're just seeing essentially an undermining of the support of the structure. And so that's, I think, what set the alarm today, and like, hey, we got to get people out of these buildings because they're just not safe. Hey, guys, Alejandro, winter storm, that's going to have blizzard with it, especially for our friends in North Dakota. We got it all here. When you get a season storm this late, blizzards come along.
Did you know Google makes a phone? Sure, it's beautiful, but it does things other phones can't do, which is how it helps take annoying items out of pictures. Introducing our newest Google Pixel phones. Switch to Verizon and get Google Pixel 7 Pro on them with select trade-in and 5G unlimited plans.
Entresto is the #1 heart failure brand prescribed by cardiologists. It was proven superior at helping people stay alive and out of the hospital. Don't take Entresto if pregnant. It can cause harm or death to an unborn baby. And don't take Entresto with an ACE inhibitor or aliskiren, or if you've had angioedema with an ACE or ARB. The most serious side effects are angioedema, low blood pressure, kidney problems, or high blood potassium. Ask your doctor about Entresto.
With thousands of live and on-demand classes to fit any schedule.
If you just added speed, you're my people, Peloton.
And world-class instructors, Peloton is the gift to get you moving.
Keep working, Peloton family.
Rent the Peloton Bike or Bike Plus, month to month, no commitments. Terms apply.
Put an end to the dreaded dust cloud every time you empty your vacuum with the revolutionary Shark Wand-Vac self-empty system. It empties itself after every clean, trapping the mess for up to 100 times less dust in your home. The Shark Wand-Vac self-empty system.
Age is just a number, and mine's unlisted.
Try Boost High Protein with 20 grams of protein for muscle health versus 16 grams in Ensure High Protein. Boost High Protein also has key nutrients for immune support. Boost High Protein.
The refrigerator is Greg's happy place.
My kids eat, but I finally figured it out.
We can get all that we need, and then a little bit more at Walmart.
Uh-oh. Now this is going to be...
A thin, painted line. The only thing between you and a life-changing accident. But are these lines enough? A Subaru with eyesight watches the lines for any danger. And can automatically stop itself.
Is everyone okay?
I'm okay.
Your family is safer in a 3-row Subaru Ascent. Love. It's what makes Subaru, Subaru.
Dude, you coming? Alka-Seltzer Plus Power Max gels with more concentrated power. Because the only thing dripping should be your style. Plop Plop is fizz with Alka-Seltzer Plus. Also tried for fast sinus and pain relief.
Stouffer's makes you happy full.
Sorry, we're busy.
So busy.
So cheesy.
So creamy. What? We are busy. Busy eating this mac and cheese.
Stouffer's. It's easy to think that all money managers are pretty much the same. But at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different how? You sell high commission investment products, right?
Nope, Fisher avoids them.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Never at Fisher Investments.
Okay, then you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we structure our fees so we do better when clients do better. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
A promise is a trust not to be broken. Whether spoken with an oath,
Do solemnly swear.
It's your first day. You know I got your back, right?
or sealed with a pinky. In 1922, a group of soldiers launched USAA with a promise to take care of their own. And after 100 years, we're still taking care of the military community. That's our mission. Always.
Olive Garden's never-ending pasta bowl is back, which means the never-ending pasta you crave is back. Starting it with our never-ending first course, well, that's always been here. Never-ending pasta bowl, starting at $13.99 for a limited time.
Welcome back to Storm Center. I'm meteorologist Jackie Jarris. We want to get you caught up with what we know this hour on Nicole. Nicole makes its first landfall as a tropical storm on Great Abaco Island in the Bahamas. And then about an hour ago, it made a second landfall over Grand Bahama Island as it was upgraded to a hurricane. Yet another landfall expected overnight tonight in Florida. Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis has issued a state of emergency now for 45 counties. The St. Lucie Sheriff's Office tells us that storm surge has breached the seawall along Indian River Drive, and SpaceX is monitoring conditions at Cape Canaveral and plans to launch the Falcon 9 rocket no earlier than Saturday. Want to get the latest on the ground? Our meteorologist Jim Cantori is in Daytona Beach Shores, Jim, where we've had evacuations today and condo high-rise buildings that are in jeopardy as this wave action has just been eroding and eating away at the shore. Of course, Ian did damage before this all came up today, but high tide is not too far away. What are you seeing now for water rises?
Yeah, so Jackie, a lot of these buildings were done in the 70s, okay? When you're talking about a beach that extended out almost 200 more yards. Okay, so there was no thought of, okay, when we put the supports in, that we would ever be dealing with the sea back here. So that's different. That's obviously changed in a big way. Whether it be some rising sea level, a warmer ocean, these stronger hurricanes, nor'easters, what have you, they have chewed away at this barrier island. And now, as of this afternoon, again, 11 structures condemned and unsafe, where they had to do evacuations for those that didn't leave with the mandatory evacuation earlier today. And that was over about 200 people, from what we were told from the chief. This is a really good example, obviously on a much smaller scale, of what we're talking about. The water's coming in with the high tide, like it did this morning. So 8:15 is when we max that out. 8:15 to 8:30 is what we were understanding. But once you lose the support of a structure, this is what happens. It falls and breaks away and cracks in different areas. And they don't want people, obviously, inside a condominium when something like this goes on. I mean, there are buildings where you have no grass in the back. It literally comes right up to the opening of someone's double doors walking out of their room. That's what it looks like on several of these condos here. So that is absolutely unsafe, especially if we get bigger waves tonight and even more erosion, which we're obviously expecting to have as we go through tonight. All right, guys, again, it's not just about impacts here on the barrier island. We've talked about that. These are obviously huge and expensive impacts to come. A lot of this was scarred from Ian months ago, but you know what? So has Orlando been scarred when we put about 20 inches of rain over in that area. Justin Michaels, you know, when I came in here, I saw tarps on roofs. I saw debris piles on my way in. Is there anything that you saw from Ian as you made your way through Orlando that said, that was the storm that was here? Potentially even debris or a flooded home where stuff's still waiting to be picked up.
Well, I mean, you know, on the highways coming down from St. Augustine and Jacksonville, Jim, I didn't see anything. You know, it's not uncommon to see, though, blue tarps in Florida. That is a pretty common sight almost anywhere you are. I can tell you, though, in speaking with the mayor and also with people who were gathering sandbags today, they were concerned about this storm for obvious reasons. It's now a hurricane. It's not going to be as impactful as Ian, but they are still cleaning up from Ian in this city. And it's kind of amazing to think Ian, when this storm came through here on Lake Eola, kind of in the center of the city of Orlando, all of this would have been underwater. The lake overflowed its banks. So what they did was lower all of the lakes in and around the greater Orlando area out of an abundance of caution to make sure that wouldn't happen again. And even though they did that, still people were concerned. So they had sandbagging efforts across the entire city, giving people a little, you know, peace of mind that if they went and got their sandbags, sandbag off their doorways, their windows, may not fare as badly as they did during Ian. And we actually caught up with a woman by the name of Rosemary Ruiz today about that and her sandbagging needs. Listen.
I'm worried about the water coming in from the last hurricane. We had some water damage, so I'm trying to prevent some more water damage this time around. I don't think it's going to be as bad as before, but again, water does a good amount of damage.
Now, precautions are being taken aside from sandbagging. The airport closed down earlier, 4 o'clock this afternoon. Also Disney, all the Disney parks, Universal Studios, and many others also closed down for the night, reopening again tomorrow. The Weather Channel has you covered all night long. And if you're a consumer of Hulu and want to watch the Weather Channel, you can do that now on Hulu. Stay tuned, folks. We've got you covered all night long to keep you informed and safe.
Did you know Google makes a phone? Sure, it's beautiful, but it does things other phones can't do, which is how it helps take annoying items out of pictures. Introducing our newest Google Pixel phones. Switch to Verizon and get Google Pixel 7 Pro on them with select trade-in and 5G unlimited plans.
With thousands of live and on-demand classes to fit any schedule.
If you just added speed, you're my people, Peloton.
And world-class instructors, Peloton is the gift to get you moving.
Keep working, Peloton family.
Try Peloton risk-free with a 30-day home trial. Terms apply.
Put an end to the dreaded dust cloud every time you empty your vacuum with the revolutionary Shark Wand-Vac self-empty system. It empties itself after every clean, trapping the mess for up to 100 times less dust in your home. The Shark Wand-Vac self-empty system.
Oh, hey, it's a Donovan's. You know, legend has it, the Donovans had a barbecue that fed half a town.
You know what I heard? They drove cross country just to walk their dog.
Apparently,
They climbed a mountain to save some wild horses. That's what they say.
That's what they say.
Toyota, let's go places.
Jimmy's John's new all-American beefy crunch is full of lies. Thousand Island dressing.
From Canada.
Crispy onion strings.
It could be from anywhere.
American cheese.
From America. Wait.
Come on, Stevie, get it together!
At Jimmy John's for a limited time.
This holiday, make no mistake, everything here is Philadelphia cheesecake. Cheesecake is everything. Make your own.
Tower cam for a... Hey, folks, we seem to have a visitor. It looks like...
Looks like you paid too much for your glasses.
Oh.
Anyone who isn't shopping at America's Best, where 2 pairs and a free exam start at just $79.95. Book an exam today.
Stouffer's makes you happy full.
Sorry, we're busy.
So busy.
So cheesy.
So creamy. What? We are busy. Busy eating this mac and cheese.
Stouffer's.
When pain says, I'm here, I say, so are they. Aleve, who do you take it for?
The unknown is not empty. It's a storm that crashes and consumes, replacing thought with worry. But one thing can calm uncertainty: an answer. Uncovered through exploration, teamwork, and innovation. An answer that leads to even more answers. Mayo Clinic. You know where to go.
How does Apartments.com create the most eye-tingling virtual tours around? Watch this. Activate shrink suit.
Wait.
Kevin.
Hello?
Let's start by getting that wood grade.
Capturing.
Oh, nice. Oh!
Nice kitty.
Kevin. This one's also pet-friendly. Apartments.com, the place to find a place. Oh.
When you get a chip in your windshield, trust Safelite. This couple counts on their SUV as they travel for their small business. So when they got a chip in their windshield, they brought it to Safelite for a same-day in-shop repair. We repaired the chip right away, and with their insurance, it was no cost to them. Plus, to protect their glass, we installed new wipers too. That's service the way you need it.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
New video right now into the Weather Channel of Stuart, Florida. You can see the scene there. Certainly water washing over those yards coming in off the Atlantic. Definitely not a scene that the folks there were hoping for as we go closer and closer to Thanksgiving coming up in just a few weeks. Amazing to be having a storm like this right now in the middle of November, and folks there are having to deal with that in their property. Tough go there in Stuart. Tough go so much of the coast, the east coast of Florida, being battered by now Hurricane Nicole. Yep, we're going to have a lot more of that video coming in for sure for you to see throughout the course of this night. And the Weather Channel will be live for you all night long to keep you informed and safe. We've got Jim Cantori. We've got Mike Seidel. We're going to have Jen Carfagno. Our team is going to be out here for a few more hours because we have lots of information to give you and lots of life-saving tools you can use throughout the course of this night, because we know there are buildings in peril on the coast. Now, here in Orlando, not so much. But remember, the storm is coming in this direction, and just because it may not be raining right now doesn't mean it's not going to be raining in the next 30 seconds and most of the night, and the winds are going to pick up here, and really you're not going to be out of the woods here in Orlando until sometime early to mid-afternoon tomorrow on Thursday. So yes, it's not bad right now, but we have seen our fair share of rain, and we're going to see a lot more of it as Nicole continues to push across the state of Florida and eventually going back out into the Gulf and maybe maybe making another landfall up on the Panhandle. We've got a long way to go. As far as preparations that were done here in Orlando, Florida, the airport shut down earlier tonight. Disney, all of its parks, many of the other parks like SeaWorld and also Universal Studios, they all shut down for the evening. Plans on reopening again tomorrow when it is safe. But until it is safe, plans are on hold. There's also a big music festival that's planned for this weekend here in Orlando to the tune of about 300,000 people coming to town. We know from our hotel that they have actually canceled reservations for that festival tomorrow, but they're expecting it to be able to go ahead as planned beginning on Friday. So lots of changes happening. Of course, Jackie, as we well know, Mother Nature is in control here, and right now, Nicole is what's controlling everybody's lives. Jackie, into you.
Yeah, and Nicole should be moving just south of Orlando, and you'll see some of your worst impacts there in Orlando, especially late tomorrow morning through the midday hours, and you're going to be in that zone for the threat of tornadoes and damaging winds. So folks there need to be prepared and be on alert to lose power, and it could take a minute to get it back because resources are going to have to spread out to cover all of that. We've already had power outages in the state today due to some of the gusty winds. So Orlando, as well as a place like Jacksonville and Tampa, you're all under tropical storm warnings, meaning those tropical storm conditions are moving in, conditions already beginning to deteriorate. There you see our winds are coming in from the north and the east, gusts generally between 20 and 30 miles per hour. We can handle that kind of wind, but that's going to increase as we head into tomorrow. Now, the coastal areas, we're still concerned about surge, even this far north. And Justin mentioned, you heard him mention that we could get a second landfall over towards the Big Bend Panhandle area. If this thing gets back over open water, and both the GFS and Euro are doing that right now, that could bring in some significant surge, and why we've had an update on these numbers of 3 to 5 feet above normally dry ground all throughout that area. So you got to stay away from the water. That's going to be one of the most dangerous things about this storm. Now, timing of these bands moving in, they're going to continue to increase in coverage and intensity overnight tonight. And then look at this through the day tomorrow. There you can see the center right along the I-4 corridor, perhaps around 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. That will then take a little bit more of a jog to the north and west, and that's why we think it could get back over open water in the afternoon, evening hours for your Thursday, and then work its way on up towards Tallahassee, perhaps just east of Tallahassee, which would be a better case scenario for them in terms of winds. Mike?
All right, Jackie, thank you for that. We know that Nicole will bring some heavy rain by the end of the week to the northeast. A place like Pittsburgh could get walloped with several inches of rain. You're taking a live look right now. Temperature close to 60 degrees, and all is right in Steel City. However, there will be big changes coming in. We will watch for the opportunities for flooding in portions of western Pennsylvania. Even think about this. Minimal Category 1 hurricane likely to make landfall tonight in Florida that may cause us issues in Pittsburgh. That just goes to show you how some of these tropical systems can be so varied in the dynamic effects that they can have, right? There's a look at the areas that we might watch for some flooding that across the southeast will extend all the way up into western North Carolina. Very flood prone, but also very landslide prone because of the very rugged terrain that we have there. Let's track this now from the southeast up through the mid-Atlantic and then into the northeast. Heavy rain begins to overspread here going into Friday. Here we are Friday morning. Now getting that rain up toward Charleston, Columbus, Ohio, Pittsburgh, into Washington, D.C. Look at the rain that's going to be very heavy here in western North Carolina, so I'd be concerned in a place like Asheville, Hendersonville, up toward Boone, Charlotte, and Columbia. We end up getting some pretty healthy rain out of this as well. Going Friday into Saturday, heavy rain extends all the way along the I-95 corridor and into the northeast, finally exiting Saturday off into Canada and New Brunswick. We're back with more Nicole coverage right after this.
Did you know Google makes a phone? Sure, it's beautiful, but it does things other phones can't do, which is how it helps take annoying items out of pictures. Introducing our newest Google Pixel phones. Switch to Verizon and get Google Pixel 7 Pro on them with select trade-in and 5G unlimited plans.
I'd like to thank our sponsor, Liberty Mutual. They customize your car insurance so you only pay for what you need. Contestants ready? Go! No. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
You'll always remember buying your first car and buying your starter home, or whatever this is. But the things that last a lifetime, like happiness, love, and confidence, you can't buy those, but you can invest in them. We believe that your investments should work harder for the future you imagine. And that's where our strategic investing approach can help. T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence.
Thank you, Nature Made, for seeing that life is a little chaotic and creating new targeted blends to help. So when our sleep, stress, and immune health are thrown off, new Nature Made Well blends can help us find balance.
Put an end to the dreaded dust cloud every time you empty your vacuum with the revolutionary Shark Wand-Vac self-empty system. It empties itself after every clean, trapping the mess for up to 100 times less dust in your home. The Shark Wand-Vac self-empty system.
Better luck next time.
But I haven't even thrown yet.
You threw good money away when you bought those glasses. Next time, go to America's Best, where 2 pairs and a free exam start at just $79.95.
Can't beat that.
Can't beat this either. Book an exam today at americasbest.com.
The new All-American Beefy Crunch at Jimmy John's. It's roast beef topped with American cheese, crispy onion strings, and Thousand Island. Is it bad to be obsessed with a sandwich? I'm asking for a friend. Grab one today at Jimmy John's for a limited time.
Certified turbocharger, suspension, and fuel injection.
Translation: certified goosebumps.
Certified from headlamp to tailpipe.
That's certified head turns.
And it's all backed by our unlimited mileage warranty.
That means unlimited peace of mind. Mercedes-Benz certified pre-owned. Translation: the Mercedes of your dreams is closer than you think.
Hi, William Shatner here. It's the Medicare annual enrollment period, and this year, it's simple. 1, before the deadline, call the number below. 2, check your zip code for a Medicare Advantage plan with prescriptions, dental care, and the benefit that adds money back to your Social Security check every month. 3, you'll find out what you're eligible for. AEP has a deadline. Call now.
I called to find a plan that covers more of my dental expenses.
I call every year to make sure my doctor is still in my plan.
I called to find a plan with lower copays.
I called to see if my zip code has a plan with the benefit that adds money back to my Social Security check.
I call every year to make sure my plan's copays didn't go up.
Millions of people have called the Medicare Coverage Helpline. You should too. AEP has a deadline, so don't delay. Call now.
Call 1-800-975-4570. That's 1-800-975-4570 now.
It's a fact. No other news network out there is trusted more than the Weather Channel.
This is epic.
Trusted to be there, where and when you need us. Trusted to work around the clock until every threat is over.
I want you to show you how powerful the winds are.
Because America doesn't trust hurricane season to just anyone.
Hard to believe it's been 37 years since we've had a landfalling hurricane in the United States. 37 years in the month of November. Okay, that's pretty amazing, a November landfalling hurricane, but that's what we're dealing with soon. It certainly looks like it's going to come either late tonight or toward midnight or after midnight, which is what most of the guidance suggests. But it is going to come in as a hurricane, which means that we are in the rare territory in through here with something that's coming ashore. But regardless of that, even if it stayed a trough, the damage has been done. First Ian, all right, now Nicole. Huge waves just battering away and beating at the beaches. The big announcement today, obviously out of Daytona Beach shores, was the fact that we had 11 structures that, and I'm talking condominiums, that were deemed compromised. In other words, the support of those structures was compromised enough so that they evacuated those buildings. Some people stayed behind, even with a mandatory evac, but they had to come in and get those folks out, and that's what they did. You heard the sheriff, or the chief, actually talk to us earlier and tell us that they're pretty much ready for them to take on whatever they're going to happen tonight, and we'll wake up tomorrow morning. It's amazing, Dennis. I don't know what we're going to see. There is some homes down by Wilbur the Sea, which is about 2 miles to my south. I mean, there's nothing left. There was nothing left this afternoon, but it was basically sand and then the building right there, right on the edge. So I can't imagine with this high tide coming in an hour and a half or so, what that's going to look like tomorrow morning. We may lose some of those. I'd be shocked if we didn't, actually.
Jim, do you feel like we need to get it out of our minds? We got to put ourselves in a different mindset that we always fear the big one, right? But think about these circumstances. You just kind of laid it out. 6 weeks ago, we had a hurricane make landfall on the West Coast, the damaged buildings on the East Coast. And now we have, by Floridian standards, tropical storm, low-end Category 1, no big deal. But it's been out there for days, lashing the coast. Those two things in combination may literally put high-rise condos in the Atlantic Ocean. Right. That is crazy.
That is crazy. And Mike, I was thinking back to this is now my 110th storm that I've covered, depression storm, hurricane. I don't think I've ever been this far from a center. Okay, I mean, I'm at the edge of the hurricane warnings, where this is going to come in sometime, place down toward the Treasure Coast. But cut. This is the wound that won't heal and is getting worse.
There's access out to the beach. We get storm surge that comes in there. How much of that water do you feel will get up to A1A or beyond?
That's a good question, Mike. I don't think so. We're right on one of those access roads. Okay, you can see where they open up the gates right here, and you can pretty much drive right down to the beach. Could it run all the way up? Pan a little bit left, Safe. I want to show you. You see the debris field of earlier. You see where that sandbag and that blue sign is? That's how far it got earlier on with the high tide. So they don't want anybody beyond that. So could it run up even farther than that? The answer to that is yes. So that's a great question. But you know what? Here it is, just coming on shore right now. It's just coming up underneath the sign. But you know what I think is going to be more worrisome, Mike, are the areas where there's just a lot and all there is sand. And we've seen a lot of that cut today. So do we actually get a cut between some of these condos or buildings where the water runs up toward A1A? That would be an amazing sight. But it's possible because we have 2 more high tide cycles to go.
Yeah, and you mentioned it earlier. We've gone so long without a hit, right? And some of these places were built in the 70s or 80s, right? This was probably the last thing on their mind. It's now all coming to fruition.
Mike, it's time that we take a look at this and really, look at these barrier islands. This is not the place to build. I think that has been very well established. If not before this event, it certainly has now. So to come back here, replenish these beaches, and build more buildings on a barrier island, that's just not smart. That's just not where we need to go. We need to do things better and smarter. And building back on a barrier island is just not what we need to do.
Jim, it's so expensive. And it's Floridians are really paying the price. We know the problems they've had with insurance there, but truly all of America pays the price, don't we?
Yes, we do. We all pay the price for this in a way. And you wonder how many, companies are going to go under now, insurance companies more under after this. Even though for you as a customer, you don't have to pay another deductible if you're filing another claim if you file one on Ian. So keep that in mind. We'll be right back.
Did you know Google makes a phone? Sure, it's beautiful, but it does things other phones can't do, which is how it helps take annoying items out of pictures. Introducing our newest Google Pixel phones. Switch to Verizon and get Google Pixel 7 Pro on them with select trade-in and 5G unlimited plans.
Introducing Domino's new leftovers. It's the same delicious pizza you expect from Domino's, but instead of eating it all tonight, you save some for tomorrow. Sure, it's hot and melty and really delicious, but resist the temptation and you have Domino's leftovers. Domino's leftovers are delicious straight from the toaster oven. They're delicious straight from the skillet.
Who reheats cold pizza?
Right now, you can try Domino's leftovers yourself when you get 2 medium 2-topping pizzas for $6.99 each. Enjoy one tonight, love one tomorrow.
Hey, Peloton, step into your power. Let's go.
Ah, you didn't come to work out. You came to outwork. Let's get it.
Yo. Boom. Come on, you got this. Everyday man's on the block. Beats,
no challenge, no change.
The ting goes. Let's go.
Now you can rent the Peloton Biker Bike Plus. Terms apply.
Life doesn't stop for diabetes. Be ready for every moment with Glucerna. It's the #1 doctor-recommended brand that's scientifically designed to help manage your blood sugar. Live every moment. Glucerna.
When our daughter and her kids moved in with us, our bargain detergent couldn't keep up.
Turns out it's mostly water.
So we switched back to Tide. One wash, stains are gone.
Don't pay for water. Pay for clean. It's gotta be Tide.
A breakfast croissant plus seasoned potatoes for $3, and they're red shirting you?
It's just a standard work shirt.
Hey, way to stay humble, man.
Thank you, Reg.
Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's $3 breakfast deal.
This holiday, make no mistake, everything here is Philadelphia cheesecake.
Cheesecake is everything.
Bake your own.
It's Walmart's Black Friday Deals for Days. Every Monday, huge deals will go live. Join Walmart Plus and you can shop online 7 hours early. So the only question is it Monday yet? That's Walmart's Black Friday Deals for Days.
It's the season of joy, and Michael's has everything you need to make it magical. So make the holidays your way with Michael's, and bring some cheer to everyone on your list. Make the holidays with Michael's.
It's the CMA Awards.
Country music's biggest night.
Kicks off with an all-star tribute to Loretta Lynn, with performances by Carrie Underwood, Morgan Wallen, Miranda Lambert, and more. Luke Bryan and Peyton Manning host the CMA Awards live tonight on ABC.
A thin, painted line. The only thing between you and a life-changing accident. But are these lines enough? A Subaru with eyesight watches the lines for any danger. And can automatically stop itself.
Is everyone okay? I'm okay.
Your family is safer in a 3-row Subaru Ascent. Love. It's what makes Subaru, Subaru.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Hours away from the first November landfalling hurricane in 37 years. Yes, if you're just joining us, Nicole is a hurricane. That was the issue from the Hurricane Center just about an hour or so ago, as it's going to make its way inland somewhere into the Palm Beaches and the Treasure Coast, perhaps past midnight tonight as a Category 1. The problems are, though, with this 485-mile wind field that it has with it. You can see what it's doing behind me. It has pushed and agitated the southwestern Atlantic so much, and that is just beating away at a coastline that can't take any more. Enough so that even here in Daytona Beach Shores, where I am, they've had to evacuate 11 condominiums from those that didn't leave with the mandatory evacuation. We've got live team coverage for you this morning on the Weather Channel. Of course, Jackie and Mike are back in the studios. Justin Michaels in Orlando to cover that angle of the story, because that is, again, like all these storms in Florida, this is not just a coastal hurricane or a coastal situation. You're going to have heavy rain inland. You're going to have wind. You're going to have potential power outages. So many counties, just a few on the Panhandle and into extreme South Florida, that don't have have hurricane or tropical storm force warnings, not to mention the storm surge warnings, which actually accompany both coasts tonight, including all the way up toward Charleston. Wow, what a storm this is, very widespread. Again, hard to believe when you think about the fact that we had such a kind of a vacant August in terms of tropical weather. We thought, oh, the season's kind of over, but then all of a sudden, Jackie, things started ramping up. We got Ian, and then we got this thing, and you know, it's been nonstop ever since.
A wild season altogether when you consider where we started. Big gap in the middle, and now here we are in November, Jim, dealing with the hurricane, and we've got a blizzard that's about to go underway at the same time as well. So a lot of craziness here, but we want to update you on Hurricane Nicole. We just got the latest advisory in from the National Hurricane Center. No changes with this latest advisory, so still on pace with what we're expecting with the impacts and landfall overnight tonight, perhaps give or take a little bit around midnight, 1 o'clock. It's Category 1 hurricane, max winds at 75 miles per hour and getting closer to the Florida coastline. It's about 100 miles now to the east of West Palm Beach. It made landfall over Grand Bahama Island that you can see it is currently over still, and it's moving west at 13 miles per hour. So it has picked up just a little bit of forward speed. That's fairly insignificant, at least for now. We'll watch it turn a little bit more northwesterly with time later on for tonight. But look at some of these winds. These are buoys, but 54 miles per hour. That's one of the stronger ones that I've seen in a while. And now Melbourne with gusts at 41 miles per hour, West Palm Beach at 33. We'll watch those winds gradually pick up tonight for sure. Hurricane warnings remain in effect from about Daytona down through about Boca, and then tropical storm warnings, including Tampa, Orlando, Tallahassee, all the way over towards Jacksonville, and then alerts extending into South Carolina. Storm surge. This is going to be one of the biggest, that huge wind field. That means it's pushing the waves far away from the center of where the storm is. The ocean is certainly angry, and we're getting closer to high tide, about an hour and a half away from that now. The rainfall, we will get some heavy bands coming in here. We haven't seen a lot of that yet. A lot of our rain has been light, but that's going to pick up as this approaches. So flood watches are in effect, 2 to 4 inches. Few spots could get a half a foot of rain. A second landfall in the U.S. is a good possibility. Both the models indicating a scrape here at least over the Big Bend area, then likely moving just east of Tallahassee and then getting picked up near Charlotte with our winter storm, Jim, and then heading into the mid-Atlantic and into the Northeast. That's a little more typical of maybe what we would expect this time of the year with those stronger storms accelerating into that part of the country. But big impacts, you know, so vulnerable there because of what happened with Ian into Daytona Beach shores. But I can't imagine, you know, this is a low-end Category 1 storm, a tropical storm all day when this damage has been done. Yeah. Can't imagine if we had a stronger storm with this wind field, what kind of damage we'd be looking at.
And you know, yeah, Jackie, I don't even want to think about it, actually. I really don't even want to think about it. But I think the fact that you have such a large wind field, and there really isn't, at the end of the day, a big difference between where we were at 70 to now where we are at 75. I mean, overall, that's just really not going to change all the overall impacts that we've been talking about now ad nauseum for the last couple of days. Those are still the same. Those are still going to impact everybody. But I think the good point that you made earlier is because now we have such a large wind field, and this thing will probably hold together a little bit more. Now we're talking about in the Big Bend of Florida a higher water rise, and that is an area very susceptible to storm surge. So places like Cedar Key, all the way up to Carabel, make sure you're on the lookout for this thing, because even though it's going to be weaker in a tropical storm again, then it's going to be impacting you with water rise. Speaking of water rise, again, we're about an hour and 15 minutes or so from high tide. We just had, before we came back, a really large wave that came in here and splashed up over the top of the building and also toward the end of this building, which is where I'm at, in front of Pirates Cove, which is one of the buildings, by the way, that was compromised and evacuated earlier on today. So this is only coming up, and I have to wonder how far up we're going to see this today and how much more damage that we're going to see. Not so much here, because I think the damage has really been done, but to other buildings, to other structures. A little place, you know, just down the road. And, you know, we've got homes that are right on the water. They are teetering right at the sand. That water's coming up now in the same places. And it's going to be hard-pressed to keep those buildings on land tonight. It really is. These are homes, and they literally, it's back of the home, right down onto the beach. That's it. And that water's getting pulled away now because the wave run-up from the high tide is coming in higher and higher and taking more and more of the beach. This, you know, Mike was mentioning earlier, this is one of these access areas where you drive down onto the beach. You'll have plenty of beach to drive on and time, but the problem is you're going to have a lot of compromised buildings to look at as this water starts to go back out a little bit. There is just no beach, no dunes, nothing left over in through here. All right, again, some of the worst weather will come in for us later on tonight once the storm comes ashore. And I'm talking about rain bands and wind, and that's going to be the case for Justin, too, in Orlando. Probably over toward morning and certainly tomorrow morning, and that unfortunately has caused places like Disney World to shut down, Justin. You know, I had two young ones back in the day, and I remember how excited they were. You know, I'm talking just drooling to the point where they couldn't wait to meet one of the Disney characters, you know, Mickey or Minnie or you know, whoever. They just couldn't wait to meet them, and I can't imagine tomorrow that breakfast where they may not be able to see one of those characters. That's going to be rough. That's going to be rougher than the storm.
Right, for those parents, for sure, and it is the case right now. Disney has decided that they have closed basically all of their parks. Universal Studios is closed, SeaWorld is closed, all the amusement parks in this part of the world have closed, and there's no plan yet on reopening, but they did say that tomorrow morning's character breakfast that so many kids do love to go to, Mickey, Minnie, Goofy, all the others, well, the characters aren't going to be there tomorrow. So parents, get ready, because you're going to have to deal with the hurricane of your children tomorrow morning. But I'll tell you what, though, the warnings are important to follow. And in fact, we caught up with the mayor of Orlando, Florida earlier today about heeding those warnings. And remember, it's not just the people who call this place home. And we are in the center of the city right now. You can see Lake Eola behind me. You can see the beautiful fountain back there. This is the heart of Orlando. But think about how many international travelers come here from all across the globe to come to Disney, to come to Universal, to be part of the spectacle and the magic that is this part of the United States. So it's important for not just the people who live here to heed the warnings, but also all those visitors. Listen to the mayor right now.
Everybody's been receptive to the warning, and actually having just gone through the other storm, that heightens everybody's sensitivities towards we need to be ready for this. It might be more than we anticipate, because actually Ian ended up being more than we anticipated as well. So I think everybody's ready for this storm and made the appropriate preparations.
And as far as preparations here in Orlando, Lake Eola back there and all the other lakes that speckle this part of Central Florida, here in Orlando, they lowered all of them to make sure that the flooding situation that was a major issue during Ian doesn't happen again. And in fact, all the land you see behind me here, all of it was underwater as Lake Eola rose up out of its banks during Ian. Hopefully that's not going to happen here during Nicole. And Jim, as far as going into the next several hours overnight, into tomorrow morning, into tomorrow early afternoon, we're going to be dealing with this storm here in Central Florida for all of that time. As far as the airport reopening, we know that there is a plan for that. We don't know the exact time yet. We'll have to hear what they say. But Jim, it's kind of interesting. The airport was very keen to say and clear to say that that is not a place where you should be sheltering. It is closed, no flights in, no flights out. So don't go there and wait for your flight. It is not a certified shelter, and they were making sure people didn't do that as Nicole was approaching. Jim, to you.
Yeah, this is not the place to be, guys. And it was interesting, too, Justin. I actually went online earlier. I looked at Melbourne. I looked at Daytona Beach, Orlando, all these airports that closed during the day, as you've been mentioning. And earlier on when I was doing this, you could not even make a flight out of those areas. So that, you know, there was no schedule. So, you know, once the planes go out, which they've done, the airports are empty. You have to get those planes back in before folks can get out. So don't anticipate this thing's going to get back online like that on Friday. It'll be quick, but it might not be, you know, at the time that you want it to, or if you have a planned flight down through here. So keep that in mind. Even if you're coming in on Friday or even Saturday, there could be some issues there. Again, watching this high tide just continue to boil its way in and through here at times, running up the beach walkway here, splashing in some cases over the top of some of these buildings, Mike Bettis. Again, it's an incredible sight, and I think it's even scarier when you can't really see what it's doing. You know what I mean? You know it's chewing away at more and more of the beach, or whatever is left, frankly, out there, but you really won't know until first light tomorrow.
Mark, let's give our viewers some perspective about where you are there, okay? We have some drone video, daylight drone video, the building behind you, okay? So walk us through this, right? We're looking at this from above, and you can see that the condo's got this big seawall, right? That thing's got to be, what, at least 10 feet tall, right? But there are areas where the water can intrude. I want to ask you about that wall, though, in particular. Could we see the pilings underneath the seawall there actually give way? How much danger is the condo building in behind this county building, the restroom that we're seeing here?
That's a great question. I mean, I think it's compromised if we lose more and more of this side. So I'm going to try and walk over here a little bit, all right, till the end. So, Mike, this whole thing was a parking lot. It went out to that corner and then back. All right, so all of this, all the way around to the back of the building, has nothing to protect it. So when this was done in the 70s, think about it. The beach was hundreds of yards away from us. It wasn't even a thought that you'd ever be dealing with ocean here, ever. All right, so, you know, the structures that hold up the building underneath some of this first layer of concrete or protection, as the water gets under that, it starts to undermine even those support, what they call support structures. And you can see how that's happening. The water comes in, it comes underneath, and then starts to chew away at the support structures. Once those give way, now you have, you know, a weakness, a tremendous weakness, and that's what they were concerned about. And the fact, Mike, that this is 11 buildings, not just one or two, but lined up, you know, 5 miles of beach, I mean, that tells you just how bad it is here, how much of this has been compromised.
Jim, let me ask you a question. After Nicole is gone and the sun comes back out, right? What are our options going to be in a place like Daytona? Are we going to give up on some of these buildings? Are there going to be discussions about building a bigger seawall or something? I mean, what do you think our options will be?
I mean, Mike, if you remember the movie Casino and the Joe Pesci line, it's all about the dollar. I mean, it kind of is, right? At the end of the day, I mean, that works in a lot of things. And But I think it's just time that we kind of make a stance and say, let's be smart about this. I mean, you have nothing to protect you. This is going to happen again now. We've taken away the beach. The water's coming up. It's getting warmer. All right, and the hurricanes are, at least in the trend that we're in right now, are stronger. Does it stay that way? I don't know. Maybe. But the fact is we can't just keep doing this every year. We can't just keep doing this every year. So it's time to be smarter about how we build back.
Do you think it's going to become a result of economics or what, Jim, that maybe at some point insurance companies are just going to say, we're done with it, we'll pay you for it, you cannot rebuild here, or the state will get involved or the county will get involved and say, this is done. Like this property, once it's gone or once it's totaled, that's it. We're not building back. Will it come to that?
Well, I mean, at some point, economics takes over, right, Mike? I mean, because it's like, we're not going to insure you. And we're already seeing that in places. We're already seeing that because we know that there's too much risk to make that insurance. So why are we going to do that? So you're kind of on your own in that way. And I think you're seeing more and more of that. And we'll continue to see it, especially if we build back or as long as the sea continues to take back a part of the barrier island, which it's doing.
Yeah, you think maybe being self-insured will get a lot of people's attention and say that's not a road we want to go down, and so we're going to let the earth take over what it was meant to take over, right? But you got to feel for the folks that live there, Jim, because they're going to have to find some other place to go because some of these places will be uninhabitable.
Mike, absolutely. There are people that have planned their retirement here. They thought 25, 30 years ago when they started building these condos, this is where I want to wind up with my sweetheart. I want to listen to the ocean every night. I want to sit out on my porch and have a glass of wine. All right? And I have no problem with that. I get it. So it's so hard. What is right? What do we do right? We just got to do it smarter. We'll be right back.
Did you know Google makes a phone? Sure, it's beautiful, but it does things other phones can't do, which is how it helps take annoying items out of pictures. Introducing our newest Google Pixel phones. Switch to Verizon and get Google Pixel 7 Pro on them with select trade-in and 5G unlimited plans.
We make sit-down chicken, stand-up chicken, backyard chicken, oops chicken, lots of time chicken, no time chicken. If there's one thing we know, it's chicken, chicken, and chicken. More choices, more wow, more to love. Tyson.
With thousands of live and on-demand classes to fit any schedule.
If you just added speed, you're my people, Peloton.
And world-class instructors, Peloton is the gift to get you moving.
Keep working, Peloton family.
Rent the Peloton Bike or Bike Plus, month to month, no commitments. Terms apply.
This holiday, make no mistake, everything here is Philadelphia cheesecake.
Cheesecake is everything.
Bake your own. Jimmy John's new All-American Beefy Crunch is full of lies. Thousand Island dressing.
From Canada.
Crispy onion strings.
It could be from anywhere.
American cheese.
From America.
Wait. Come on, Stevie, get it together!
At Jimmy John's for a limited time.
Life doesn't stop for diabetes. Be ready for every moment with Glucerna. It's the #1 doctor-recommended brand that's scientifically designed to help manage your blood sugar. Live every moment. Glucerna.
You'll always remember buying your first car and buying your starter home, or whatever this is. But the things that last a lifetime, like happiness, love, and confidence, you can't buy those, but you can invest in them. We believe that your investments should work harder for the future you imagine. And that's where our strategic investing approach can help. T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence.
Put an end to the dreaded dust cloud every time you empty your vacuum with the revolutionary Shark Wand-Vac self-empty system. It empties itself after every clean, trapping the mess for up to 100 times less dust in your home. The Shark Wand-Vac self-empty system.
Snoring keeping you awake? The Sleep Number 360 smart bed lets you gently raise your partner's head. And it senses your movements and automatically adjusts. Don't miss our weekend special. Save 40% on the Sleep Number 360 Special Edition smart bed. Ends Monday.
Certified turbocharger, suspension, and fuel injection.
Translation? Certified goosebumps.
Certified from headlamp to tailpipe.
That's certified head turns.
And it's all backed by our unlimited mileage warranty.
That means unlimited peace of mind. Mercedes-Benz certified pre-owned. Translation: the Mercedes of your dreams is closer than you think.
Welcome home. I wasn't expecting this.
Fast Home Rescue, Saturday nights, 8/7 Central, only on the Weather Channel.
Hi, William Shatner here. It's the Medicare annual enrollment period, and this year, it's simple. 1, before the deadline, call the number below. 2, check your zip code for a Medicare Advantage plan with prescriptions, dental care, and the benefit that adds money back to your Social Security check every month. 3, you'll find out what you're eligible for. AEP has a deadline. Call now.
I called to find a plan that covers more of my dental expenses.
I call every year to make sure my doctor is still in my plan.
I called to find a plan with lower copays.
I called to see if my zip code has a plan with a benefit that adds money back to my Social Security check.
I call every year to make sure my plan's copays didn't go up.
Millions of people have called the Medicare Coverage Helpline. You should too. AEP has a deadline, so don't delay. Call now.
Call 1-800-975-4570. That's 1-800-975-4570 now.
can't stop a force of nature. This hurricane season, rely on one of your own. It's a fact. No other news network out there is trusted more than the Weather Channel.
This is epic.
Trusted to give you every advantage before the storm. Trusted to be there where and when you need us. Trusted to work around the clock until every threat is over.
I want you to show you how powerful the winds are here.
America doesn't trust hurricane season to just anyone.
We get erosion. It's pretty unusual we get it this badly.
Whoa, there goes a tree. There it goes. The power of water, we can only try and comprehend what it can do. We can try and prepare for it and avoid it as best as we can. But the water has been coming in via the ocean here today with big waves, just boiling surf, and one heck of a longshore current from north to south. So whatever comes in and is eaten up, whether it be somebody's gangway, a palm tree, like the palms that we saw fall in the water this morning, eventually they're taken in and then shot down to the south, because the current is trying to get out of the way. It's just, the water's trying to move here, and unfortunately it just takes so many things. So, and that's the story here at Daytona Beach Shores. If you're just joining us, 11 condominiums today where the mandatory evacuation went underway this morning, but now an official evacuation of the building because of compromise, structural compromise. That's what we were told. And as a matter of fact, we talked to the Public Information Officer, Chief Fowler, and this is what he had to say about his thoughts on the issue.
We were just able to complete the evacuation. We had 6 additional structures that were deemed to be unsafe by our chief building official this afternoon. It took us several hours. It took the help of the Volusia Sheriff's Office to come in. We went door to door in each one of those. Every one of them was a high-rise condo. Unfortunately, we had about 200 people who had not heeded the warning and the mandatory evacuation that was issued. They were supposed to have left on their own starting at 10 o'clock this morning. We ended up with very labor-intensive work to get done.
Yeah, so 11 structures. Those left in those buildings, 200, as you heard from him. Everybody getting out. He's pretty happy with how things are. Some may have decided to stay on their own, but that's their business. And he was talking later on about, okay, we'll take your number and we'll notify your next of kin should something not work out in your favor. And hopefully it won't. Hopefully these structures will still be here tomorrow. A lot of them built in the 70s and 80s. As we talked about, there wasn't even a thought that you'd ever be dealing with the ocean because it was hundreds of yards out. But that's what's changed over the years. Nor'easters, hurricanes, strong wind over the water has taken, astronomical high tides and a rising ocean has slowly taken away, Mike. And now we're kind of at the tipping point here. What do we do? And that's what I think people have to really stop and take a moment and think about. If we're going to come back here, which we love the water, we all do, how are we going to do it? How are we going to do it real smart so everybody can enjoy it?
Very well put from our Jim Cantore, who, trust us folks, has been there, done that, seen it all. And so maybe we are at that moment where we just have to take a good hard look at what's going on in some of our vulnerable coastal locations. We're going to get back to Jim in just a moment, get some more details on the landfall tonight. I want to show you a place like West Palm where it's windy, it's rainy for us right now. I want to really drill down to where we're anticipating landfall tonight. And I know that the impacts will go well beyond where the landfall location is, but I'm going to show you that spot in particular. We do have hurricane warnings highlighted in purple on your screen here from Boca northbound, and we're anticipating a landfall maybe somewhere between West Palm and Vero Beach, and that would put Port St. Lucie kind of right toward the center of the circulation. Here is a look at the winds right now, and they're very, very gusty at this point in a place like Vero Beach, gusting to almost 50 miles an hour, and those winds go up for the remainder of the night. Here's the high-resolution modeling, okay, and here we go, right over Port St. Lucie, maybe even an eye out of this. 1 o'clock in the morning, anticipating landfall, give or take an hour or so, but we think that's pretty good timing there. But in a place like West Palm, it's going to get really rough for us. We're going to be, if there's an eye wall that forms on this, we're going to be in that really tough part where you're going to get some high winds and heavy rainfall rates. Same for us in Vero Beach and then north from there. Then let's race that across Florida, eventually getting in the morning and late morning over towards, say, the Tampa and St. Pete area with improving conditions tomorrow midday along the west coast, although we could still see some scattered showers on the backside of the system. Now let's show you the winds that come along with this. Again, landfall sometime around 1 o'clock in the morning. The winds will be very gusty here. Jupiter up toward Vero Beach where the gusts could be 75+ miles an hour. The worst of the storm is on the north side of it, okay? We've had a little bit of dry air intrusion on the south side, but the north side is where you'll see the worst winds. That'll last through the night and tomorrow morning. Winds should by tomorrow evening start to back off a little bit, 25 to 30 along the coastline here. Once you stick around, we got a lot more as we track Nicole for you tonight, a Category 1 hurricane. Don't forget, now streaming on the TWC app.
Did you know Google makes a phone? Sure, it's beautiful, but it does things other phones can't do, which is how it helps take annoying items out of pictures. Introducing our newest Google Pixel phones. Switch to Verizon and get Google Pixel 7 Pro on them with select trade-in and 5G unlimited plans.
With thousands of live and on-demand classes to fit any schedule.
If you just added speed, you're my people, Peloton.
And world-class instructors, Peloton is the gift to get you moving.
Keep working, Peloton family.
Try Peloton risk-free with a 30-day home trial. Terms apply.
Put an end to the dreaded dust cloud every time you empty your vacuum with the revolutionary Shark Wand-Vac self-empty system. It empties itself after every clean, trapping the mess for up to 100 times less dust in your home. The Shark Wand-Vac self-empty system.
The new All-American Beefy Crunch at Jimmy John's. It's roast beef topped with American cheese, crispy onion strings, and Thousand Island. Is it bad to be obsessed with a sandwich? I'm asking for a friend. Grab one today at Jimmy John's for a limited time.
During Walmart's Black Friday Deals for Days, every Monday is a huge deal. Get a $79 HP Chromebook, plus other hot deals. Join Walmart Plus and you can shop online 7 hours early. Head to Walmart's Black Friday Deals for Days.
Pain hits fast, so get relief fast. Only Tylenol Rapid Release Gels have laser-drilled holes. They release medicine fast for fast pain relief. And now, get relief without a pill with Tylenol Dissolve Packs. Relief without the water.
Extra hard studying calls for something extra. So you serve up new DiGiorno fully stuffed crust pizza. Because pizza with an extra layer of cheese stuffed edge to edge throughout the entire crust always hits the spot. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
Hey, oh. A promise is a trust not to be broken. Whether spoken with an oath.
Do solemnly swear.
It's your first day. You know I got your back, right?
Or sealed with a pinky. In 1922, a group of soldiers launched USAA with a promise to take care of their own. And after 100 years, we're still taking care of the military community. That's our mission. Always.
Finding my way forward with node-positive breast cancer felt overwhelming at times. But I never just found my way. I made it. So when I finished active therapy, I kept moving forward and did everything I could to protect myself from recurrence.
Verzenio is the first treatment in over 15 years to reduce the risk of recurrence for adults with HR-positive, HER2-negative, node-positive, early breast cancer with a high chance of returning, as determined by your doctor when added to hormone therapy. Hormone therapy works outside the cell, while Verzenio works inside to help stop the growth of cancer cells. Diarrhea is common, may be severe, or cause dehydration or infection. At the first sign, call your doctor, start an antidiarrheal, and drink fluids. Before taking Verzenio, tell your doctor about any fever, chills, or other signs of infection. Verzenio may cause low white blood cell counts, which may cause serious infection that can lead to death. Life-threatening lung inflammation can occur. Tell your doctor about any new or worsening trouble breathing, cough, or chest pain. Serious liver problems can happen. Symptoms include fatigue, appetite loss, stomach pain, and bleeding or bruising. Blood clots that can lead to death have occurred. Tell your doctor if you have pain or swelling in your arms or legs, shortness of breath, chest pain, and rapid breathing or heart rate, or if you are nursing, pregnant, or plan to be.
I'm making my way forward, my way, with Verzenio.
Ask your doctor about everyday Verzenio.
A thin, painted line. The only thing between you and a life-changing accident. But are these lines enough? A Subaru with eyesight watches the lines for any danger. And can automatically stop itself.
Is everyone okay?
I'm okay.
Your family is safer in a 3-row Subaru Ascent. Love. It's what makes Subaru, Subaru.
Welcome back to our continuing coverage of Hurricane Nicole. We want to get you caught up with what we know at this hour. Nicole making landfall twice now, once as a tropical storm and once as a hurricane in the Bahamas. Of course, this is leading up to landfall expected overnight tonight in Florida. Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis has issued a state of emergency for 45 counties. The St. Lucie Sheriff's Office tells us storm surge has breached the seawall along Indian River Drive, and SpaceX is monitoring conditions at Cape Canaveral, planning to launch the Falcon 9 rocket no earlier than Saturday. So we have got our hurricane on our hands. We are just hours away from landfall. Our meteorologist Jim Cantore is live in Daytona Beach shores. Jim, who would have thought on their bingo card this hurricane season that we'd be dealing with a landfalling hurricane on November 9th or 10th, right, give or take an hour from midnight where this is going to happen, and that the worst of the impacts are hundreds of miles away from where the center of the storm happens to be.
Right, and compounded by, you know, one of the worst hurricanes they've ever seen in Southwest Florida, which has impacted the entire state. And that's really, I think, set the stage here, Jackie, for what's happened. I don't know how bad it would have been without Ian, but I think it would have been pretty bad, you know, because we've had, you know, this is like day 2.5, if you will, of this wave run-up that continues along the coastline. You know, if anything, our winds are a little bit lighter, I think, this evening, which is kind of interesting to me. But we're seeing the water come up. I mean, it's, you know, we're approaching high tide here in an hour, and every once in a while there's always something different that shows up. I mean, look at this big tube. Usually, you know, you either that's for air, to get air around a building, or it's part of, you know, taking water out and putting it back into the ocean. Those are where those tubes come from. So who knows? Did that come from under a building? A lot of times when you build a house, around the outside of the house, you'll see them lay a stone area and then some of those tubes, so that as water kind of seeps down along the house, it kind of pulls it away. So you wonder if that came from around a structure. But here's the water coming in. I mean, you can just see this boiling in. Every once in a while you get a set of waves that comes in and just kind of rolls up this river. And of course, as we mentioned earlier on, this structure, this restaurant, part of this building here, where people access the beach in vehicles, you have lost because it has been undermined. Kind of analogous to what we're worried about, and the biggest worry, obviously, that occurred today, where they started evacuating 11 buildings that they condemned not safe due to structural issues underneath. And you can see why. You can see the water that's coming in here. There's nothing to protect these buildings. All right, guys, again, a lot of this was Ian. I was just told we lost power in Ian here, so I'm not surprised. We had winds gusting in near 90 miles per hour. Also, nobody's accessing this barrier island now. The bridges were closed as of 7 o'clock tonight, so if you're here, you're here. But so far, at least, we have power at this point, so some good news. Let's head over toward Orlando, where some of the worst impacts expected tomorrow morning and possibly into the afternoon hours. But the damage has been done for those kids that were just chomping at the bit, Justin Michaels, to get out and meet Mickey and Minnie and Goofy and everybody else in the crew. It won't happen tomorrow. It's going to have to wait a little while.
That's right, at least not tomorrow morning at that character breakfast, Jim, which I know you've attended in the past with your children. The character breakfast tomorrow at Disney, well, it's been canceled as far as the characters go. They're still going to serve breakfast, but, you know, Cinderella, Mickey, Minnie, they're not showing up. So sorry, parents, you're going to have other little versions of hurricanes to deal with tomorrow morning. I will tell you, the rain has now begun to really come down here in earnest in Orlando. The concern here throughout the course of this day was any flooding. So what they did here was lower all of the water levels in the lakes. And if you know anything about the topography here in Central Florida, it is speckled with all sorts of little tiny lakes all over the place. So here in Orlando, the mayor, emergency management officials were very proactive, because it was during Ian a few weeks ago that where I'm standing right now on a little bit of a platform, I would have been in water right now. And in fact, if you look, Austin, this way. If you look back at the railing there, across this little channel of water, the water would have been up over the sidewalk there from Lake Eola, rising up because of how much rain came down. Now, The expectation is that's not going to happen this time. We're talking about a very different storm. We're talking about very different rainfall totals. Nearly 20 inches of rain during Ian. This one is going to be about 3 to 5, but still they took great precautions to make sure these lakes were lowered. Now, the Weather Channel has you covered all night long. Jen Carfagno is going to carry you through, Mike Seidel as well. And if you are a Hulu subscriber, you can now watch the Weather Channel for life-saving information there. We've got you covered everywhere. We're back after this.
First came Google, then came Fitbit. What if the two forces joined together to transform the way we live? Again, Fitbit by Google.
Life doesn't stop for diabetes. Be ready for every moment with Glucerna. It's the #1 doctor-recommended brand that's scientifically designed to help manage your blood sugar. Live every moment. Glucerna.
Hey, Peloton, step into your power. Let's go.
Ah, you didn't come to work out. You came to outwork. Let's get it. Yo. Boom.
Come on, you got this.
Everyday man's on the
Hey,
block.
no challenge, no change.
The ting goes. Let's go.
Try Peloton risk-free with a 30-day home trial. Terms apply.
Oh, hey, it's the Donovans. You know, legend has it, the Donovans had a barbecue that fed half a town.
You know what I heard? They drove cross-country just to walk their dog.
Apparently, they climbed a mountain to save some wild horses. That's what they say.
That's what they say.
Toyota, let's go places.
People remember ads with young people having a good time. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance, here's a pool party.
Good times insurance.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Put an end to the dreaded dust cloud every time you empty your vacuum with the revolutionary Shark Wand-Vac self-empty system. It empties itself after every clean, trapping the mess for up to 100 times less dust in your home. The Shark Wand-Vac self-empty system.
Dish makes TV easy. Now with all of your favorite live TV and streaming apps all in one place.
All right, here we go.
Discovery Plus. Dish, streaming and live TV all in one place.
But all you got was ham? And all you got was turkey?
With gravy.
That's an all-you-can-eat holiday buffet. A smorgasbord of all you want, all you need. Did I sit at the wrong table?
Extra hard studying calls for something extra. So you serve up new DiGiorno fully stuffed crust pizza. Because pizza with an extra layer of cheese stuffed edge to edge throughout the entire crust always hits the spot. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
Congratulations, you're having an out-of-apartment experience because these cramped confines aren't going to fit your rapidly expanding family. But with more rental listings than anybody else, apartments.com can help you trade this love nest for
an actual nest.
Baby names. For a boy, Brad. For a girl, Brad. Apartments.com, the place to find a place.
Jeez.
Ironic. Edelman's struggling with reception.
Two things I hate dropping. Balls and calls.
Well, you need a better network. And Verizon's new Welcome Unlimited plan for just $30 a line.
Verizon for $30?
Yeah, it's their best unlimited price ever.
I'm switching now.
And getting the network you want for $30.
Touchdown! Touchdown! Everyone can get Verizon for just $30 a line. And now's the time to switch because you'll get up to $960 only on the network America relies on. Verizon.
Are you okay?
Oh, it's just a cold.
If you have high blood pressure, a cold is not just a cold. Coricidin is the #1 doctor-recommended cold and flu brand, specially designed for people with high blood pressure. Be there for life's best moments. Trust Coricidin.
We have new video into the Weather Channel right now, just coming into the Weather Channel just a few moments ago from Stuart, Florida. That is storm surge, folks, coming in off of the Atlantic Ocean, being pushed by the power of now Hurricane Nicole. That is not what you want to see, and that is why we always tell you to heed the warnings, evacuate when asked, and certainly be staying home, because you certainly don't want to be coming across that storm surge while you're driving around, maybe trying to get home. Now, Stuart is a pretty narrow strip of land in some places there, and definitely could find itself in a little bit of trouble later tonight. We just got to keep watching it. There's so many parts of the coast being battered by this storm right now, Stuart being one of them, and you can see that storm surge coming in there. Remember, water is the most deadly part of any of these storms. It's not wind, it's water. And if you get yourself caught in that, sometimes it's a situation you cannot recover from. Let's hope that does not happen with Nicole like it did so many times during Ian just a few weeks ago. I'm Justin Michaels. I'm live for you right now in Orlando, Florida. Of course, we're going to be next in line after the eventual landfall of this storm, coming up through the center part of Florida and eventually exiting again. But what we've been experiencing here for the better part of the day is on and off rain, also on and off gusty winds. But we know here in Orlando that's going to continue to pick up, and that's why this evening is really the best place for you to be inside. You don't want to be caught out in this, especially as the winds pick up. If it comes through here as a Category 1 hurricane, that means we're dealing with 75-mile-per-hour winds or more. And you don't want to be stuck outside in that, especially with the rain continuing to come down. And we know rain is going to be a bit of an issue. Not like it was during, but just use caution. Try to stay in tonight. And as far as you're planning out your day tomorrow, we've basically got all night tonight, all morning tomorrow, into the early to mid-afternoon before this begins to push out and give you some relief from Nicole here in Orlando, Florida. They have lowered all the lakes, so no flooding can happen because it was during Ian. There was tons of flooding. Disney has closed all of its parks. Universal Studios has closed. SeaWorld has closed. All these things are closed down, including the airport, Jackie. So lots of precautions went into place to make sure people are staying as safe as possible here in Central Florida, and I hope it works. Let's make sure everybody does stay safe. Jackie, into you for more.
Yes, and staying home is the best way to do that unless something life-threatening is happening at the moment. Now, I want to talk a little bit more about some of the localized impacts and the timing of all of this. And I want to show you the latest radar because you can really see the center of circulation here over Grand Bahama Island. It's less than 100 miles now away from West Palm Beach. And we take a look at a place like Orlando and up towards Jacksonville, we're getting the showers, but look at now that steadier shield of rain has arrived. So now we're going to watch for heavier downpours to be more persistent. The winds gradually picking up, 37-mile-per-hour wind gusts there in Jacksonville right now. And it's really been about 30 to 40 at the most through most of the day for today. Now, the next concern with the water level rises is that we're getting close to high tide. High tide in Daytona Beach Shores, for example, about 8:30. Later on tonight in Jacksonville, about 10:30. That's when this water level rise will likely be greatest. Then we have to talk about the Gulf Coast too, because we're likely going to get this storm move back over open water, and that is going to bring surge all across the Big Bend area that could be equal to that, around 3 to 5 feet. So again, life-threatening and very vulnerable into the Big Bend. Here's a look at the future radar indicating those steadier rains continuing and picking up overnight tonight. Tropical tornadoes will be possible coming in with these bands, so you need to have a way to get alerted while you're sleeping and get to your safe place. That interior room, the lowest level of your house, wherever you've identified that safe place to be, you're going to wake up in Tampa, Mike, with tropical storm force conditions, and the center are going to be moving over you by late morning, and then this thing moves into northern parts of Florida. So this is a pretty large duration event for folks in the state of Florida, but it doesn't stop there.
No, it doesn't. Into the southeast, Jackie, then eventually into the northeast as well. This is a live look at Pittsburgh right now, where all is calm. Things are great for us right now. 55 degrees. However, big changes in our forecast as Nicole will bring some rain and wind, even to places like western Pennsylvania, a long way away from where Nicole will make a landfall, which is likely down here somewhere, say, near Vero Beach. But a lot of rain in our forecast means there's going to be a flood risk, and that through Friday morning will extend up into, say, the Triad here in North Carolina, western North Carolina, very vulnerable to flash flooding as well as landslides. We've seen it play out with deadly consequences in previous tropical systems. Let's time this out, though, hour by hour. Timeline at the top there, and here's the rain that's rolling in now. Through Thursday, rain across the southeast, at times quite heavy. Now going to Friday morning, rain's gotten up to Pittsburgh, up towards Cincinnati and Columbus, into Washington, D.C., and then rain overspreads the northeast going into Friday and Saturday. There's some of the heavy rain now. Western North Carolina heads up around, maybe a Saluda, an Asheville, a Boone. These are all places where some really heavy rain and flash flooding will be an issue for us. Widespread areas of 1 to 2 inches of rain in our forecast. Now let's time it out. Going through Friday, look at the rain spreading now across the northeast. For many of you, rainfall rates could be ½ inch, maybe even an inch an hour in certain pockets. And then by Saturday morning, mostly a New England event before exiting up into Canada, but not before heavy rain comes down for us here, with flooding still a possibility right through Saturday morning. More Nicole coverage right after this.
Did you know Google makes a phone? Sure, it's beautiful, but it does things other phones can't do, which is how it helps take annoying items out of pictures. Introducing our newest Google Pixel phones. Switch to Verizon and get Google Pixel 7 Pro on them with select trade-in and 5G unlimited plans.
What does dry skin feel like?
It was really scaly.
Like a pet lizard? New Dove Body Wash with Microbiome Nutrient Serum transforms the driest skin in one shower.
I feel amazing. I feel like put on a really good dress.
Your skin's full of life again. New Dove Body Wash.
Jimmy's John's new all-American beefy crunch is full of lies. Thousand Island dressing.
From Canada.
Crispy onion strings.
It could be from anywhere.
American cheese.
From America. Wait.
Come on, Stevie, get it together!
At Jimmy John's for a limited time.
Better luck next time.
Who said that?
I did.
But I haven't even thrown yet.
You threw good money away when you bought those glasses. Next time, go to America's Best, where 2 pairs and a free exam start at just $79.95. It's a quality exam worth $59.
Can't beat that.
Can't beat this either. All right, I'll give you that one. And apparently that one. 2 pairs and a free exam starting at just $79.95. Book an exam today at americasbest.com. Somebody sign this kid.
The Great Big Tree Spree is going on now at Michael's. All trees are on sale. Get 50% off trees in-store and online, and get Black Friday prices now on select trees. Plus, earn up to 6% in Michael's Rewards. Hurry in. Sale ends November 12th.
Dude, what are you doing? I'm protecting my car. That's too much work. WeatherTech is so much easier. Laser measured floor liners up here, seat protector and cargo liner back there. Nice. Out here, side window deflectors and mud flaps and the bump step to keep the bumper dent free. Cool. It's the best protection for your vehicle, new or pre-owned. Great. But where do I order? WeatherTech.com.
The unknown is not empty. It's a storm that crashes and consumes, replacing thought with worry. But one thing can calm uncertainty: an answer. Uncovered through exploration, teamwork, and innovation. An answer that leads to even more answers. Mayo Clinic. You know where to go.
Blood sugar, normal. If these are words you long to hear, here's good news. Gluco-Gold is the complete doctor-formulated solution guaranteed to help keep your blood sugar in that normal range. Gluco-Gold contains the clinically researched dose of a highly refined super ingredient, berberine, plus 3 more powerful ingredients. Gluco-Gold will help you maintain healthy blood sugar levels while it supports healthy cholesterol and insulin sensitivity, or your money back guaranteed. Text BATON to 321-321 to request your first bottle of Gluco-Gold, and we'll include a second bottle absolutely free. That's 2 bottles for the price of 1 and free shipping. Plus, you'll receive a bottle of vitamin D3 absolutely free. But hurry, this free bottle offer isn't available anywhere else and won't last long. Take the first step to making sure your next checkup is better than your last, and hearing those 3 wonderful words: blood sugar normal. Text BATON to 321-321.
Stronger winds, stronger surge, and stronger storms makes a stronger hurricane season. You know what else is getting stronger? The #1 most trusted TV news network, the Weather Channel. Now available for anyone to stream on the new and improved TV app. Go to streamtwc.com to start your free 7-day trial.
We've got some new video into the Weather Channel showing you conditions here earlier in Melbourne, Florida. And as we take a closer look, there you see it on the right-hand side of your screen. Wow, that was quite a flash. And you can see some issues going on with the power lines there. I just checked on the latest for power outages in the state of Florida. We've got 12,000 customers that are without power right now. The large majority of those are in Indian River County. So we'll continue to keep our eye out for the conditions in terms of power outages, but we want to get out right now to our meteorologist, Jim Cantori. He is live in Daytona Beach shores right now. And Jim, so far those winds that would cause a lot of these power outages haven't been too bad. And for most of the gusts really under 40 miles per hour anywhere across Florida. But with this sprawling and really large wind field, as it gets closer, we know that that's going to change later tonight.
Yeah, I think the best concentrated winds are going to be down, you know, where the center comes ashore, because, Jackie, there is some semblance of an eye wall that's tried to organize with this thing, so we know that that'll occur. We're dealing with these gradient winds, which we know have been extensive now for a couple of days, because the wind field, the tropical storm force wind field, extends out almost 500 miles from the center, which is just absolutely nuts when you think about it through here. The strongest winds I've heard of so far, Stuart, Florida at 68 with a gust, and here in Daytona at 58 with a gust. So the one trend maybe is maybe some of these power outages are starting to come up a little bit more, and I think that'll be true down toward the Treasure Coast as we start getting into the more steadier rain, which tends to transport down some of the stronger winds from aloft. Well, what we're dealing with here is the high tide. All right, it's coming in fast and furious. Look at the run up here. It just runs right up the road. This is the access road here off Atlantic, all right? And you can see the water just running up this road. This is what compromised the building right across on the other side of that road this morning. It got underneath that, took out the supports of that building, and allowed it to collapse. And it's really the same kind of, in a much larger fashion, what they're worried about here with 11 of these condominiums where they had to come in and complete evacuations today of about 200 people, Mike Dennis. They got all those out, as you heard from Chief, the public information officer here at Daytona Beach Shores. And so, whoever's still here is going to have to deal with that now, because as of 7 o'clock earlier on, the bridges over the intercoastal are closed. The good news is, at least for the moment, we still have power. Back to you.
Jim, how important is it going to be for people to leave? Because when you talked to the sheriff's office earlier, they said there were some people that didn't want to leave. They can't physically force them to go, but they take their information just in case there's a problem, right? You've been there and you've done this so many times. How important is it going to be for people that live on beachfront buildings to get out of harm's way?
Mike, first of all, when you think about it, the fact that they were worried about 11 structures and the supports of those structures compromised, I think that's a really large statement, enough to where, they got the help from the county, Volusia County Sheriff's Department, got in here and actually went door to door and asked these people to leave. I mean that seems to be up a notch when you think about it. So whether we lose the buildings or not, which I hope we don't, is one thing, but the fact that we're at that level, I think, really speaks volumes of where we are. Now, as we mentioned, down about 2 miles from me is this place called Wilbur by the Sea. There are several homes lined up that were right on the sand, right on whatever sand was there in the back of their home, which was oceanfront. That was earlier. Now I showed you that wave run up. That's all coming in now. And you wonder what's going to be left by tomorrow morning, because we're going to go through the dark of night, and then we're going to start seeing the tide come up again tomorrow morning. I think we peak around 9:15 with that tide. And if tonight doesn't do it, tomorrow morning has a chance of doing it to those homes. And again, even compromises these structures again. So, we got a long night ahead of us and a long morning tomorrow. And even though things may start to change or wind down a little bit during the day here at Daytona Beach Shores, remember, this hurricane is coming into our south and then coming to our west, back into the northeastern Gulf with its very large wind field. So what will change for us, I think, is once the winds come off the land, the friction will dampen them a little bit versus just coming in off the water, which now, we're getting the full force of it. So again, guys, just hunker down and realize these 12,000 power outages tonight are going to be harder to get get to as we get stronger and stronger winds, especially coming into the Palm Beaches and the Treasure Coast. So we got a long night with Nicole. The last time we had a landfalling hurricane on the east coast of Florida in November, 1935.
Certified turbocharger, suspension, and fuel injection.
Translation, certified goosebumps.
Certified from headlamp to tailpipe.
That's certified head turns.
And it's all backed by our unlimited mileage warranty.
That means unlimited peace of mind. Mercedes-Benz certified pre-owned. Translation, the Mercedes of your dreams is closer than you think.
You'll always remember buying your first car and buying your starter home, or whatever this is. But the things that last a lifetime, like happiness, love, and confidence, you can't buy those, but you can invest in them. We believe that your investments should work harder for the future you imagine. And that's where our strategic investing approach can help. T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence.
Did you know Google makes a phone? Sure, it's beautiful, but it does things other phones can't do, which is how it takes stunning photos in the dark, can edit annoying items out of pictures, and unblur faces. Why, it'll even put some of that genius in your ears, or on your wrist. Beautifully, of course. Introducing the new Google Pixel Watch, Google Pixel Buds Pro, and our newest Google Pixel phones. Switch to Verizon and get Google Pixel 7 Pro on them with select trade-in and 5G unlimited plans.
Introducing Domino's new leftovers. It's the same delicious pizza you expect from Domino's, but instead of eating it all tonight, you save some for tomorrow. Sure, it's hot and melty and really delicious, but resist the temptation and you have Domino's leftovers. Domino's leftovers are delicious straight from the toaster oven. They're delicious straight from the skillet.
Who reheats cold pizza?
Right now, you can try Domino's leftovers yourself when you get 2 medium, 2-topping pizzas for $6.99 each. Enjoy one tonight, love one tomorrow.
Hey, Peloton, step into your power. Let's go.
Ah, you didn't come to work out. You came to outwork. Let's get it.
Yo. Boom. 2 + 2 is 4. Come on, you got this. Everyday man's on the
Hey,
block. Beats,
no challenge, no change.
The ting goes. Let's go.
Now you can rent the Peloton Bike or Bike Plus. Terms apply.
It's nice to unwind after a long week of telling people how Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need. He's a natural. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty. We get to celebrate being together.
Tell a joke, share stories.
What everybody has done over the past year.
The togetherness of that moment.
Just really celebrating each other.
The new All-American Beefy Crunch at Jimmy John's. It's roast beef topped with American cheese, crispy onion strings, and Thousand Island. Is it bad to be obsessed with a sandwich? I'm asking for a friend. Grab one today at Jimmy John's for a limited time.
The holidays were lonely for the Yeti, but after saving big with early Black Friday at Amazon, Yeti became more social. Shop legendary deals at Amazon.
And we are about to deal with a landfalling hurricane here in the United States on the east coast of Florida in November. The first one since 1935. 88 years ago is the last time that happened. It won't be the latest one in the month of November. It'll be the second latest. But still, what a November it has been. We've had 3 hurricanes so far this month. Absolutely amazing. Our continuing coverage of Nicole, though, that is what's top of mind right now. That's what we've been dealing with, and that's what we will continue to deal with. This has been our worst squall of the night in terms of the rain. And what's interesting about this one is I was just commenting to my guys. I said, guys, doesn't it seem weird that the winds were so light there for a second, and they were. Then all of a sudden, here comes this squall, and the winds have absolutely picked up along with the rain. Team coverage continues tonight. Mike Bettis, Jackie Jarris back in the studios in Atlanta, covering all the angles for you. Of course, we've got Justin Michaels out in Orlando. He's been telling us about how they're preparing there and how they've shut down Disney World. Mike Seidel joining us this hour from Vero Beach, Florida, to tell you about how much beach he's lost today, how much he's losing again tonight, and how much they lose tomorrow. Much closer to where we may see a landfall tonight of this hurricane. So big time issues here as we continue to go through Nicole, and our power outages now climb to up over 12,000 customers without power. Again, guys, as I mentioned, here at Daytona Beach Shores, it has been a big day for two reasons. We've lost more beach, enough so that we've seen structures undermined. All right, this is kind of an example of what was a real big concern at about 3 o'clock this afternoon. They made a big announcement where they said, okay, we're going to, there's 11 structures that we feel unsafe about, where the supports for those structures are compromised. I'm actually standing next to one of them. It's called Pirates Cove. All right, that's where we're doing our live shot this evening. And so they came in with Volusia County Sheriff's Department and then went door to door. And whoever didn't evacuate with the mandatory evac was evacuated. And they wanted to get all that done before 7 p.m. tonight, which is when the bridge is closed. So who's ever here on the barrier island stays. And that includes our team. The good news is here, as far as the eye can see, we've got power at this point. But what I have seen is a lot less traffic on the roads and a lot less folks coming out and about and just kind of seeing. But we're awaiting high tide probably in the next 15 minutes to 30 minutes or so. So we'll see how much more the water comes up. But again, guys, we can only hear it. We can only hear the waves and the water coming in. We can't really see the undermining that's going on. But we know, Jackie, from seeing it this morning, and we'll see it again tomorrow morning, how much beach and sand and everything else that's left really is getting undermined. And we know that's going on, and we'll go on again tomorrow morning. Wow. Yep. I've never seen anything like this. This is really destructive. Really
very destructive. It's just been chewing away at the coast all day long today, Jim, and causing so much damage and destruction. Yes. And you guys are, what, 200 plus miles away from the center of the storm. And just now, as Jim mentioned, getting one of your heavy downpours coming in there at Daytona Beach Shores. But there's the center of the storm right here, still working its way across Grand Bahama Island. But the steadier precip has arrived in Florida, and the stronger winds are just off the coast, and we're starting to get some pretty strong gusts right now. Cape Canaveral reporting gusts around 51 miles per hour at the moment. A closer view where you can see that heavier rain from Fort Pierce down towards Stewart. West Palm Beach getting the heavy rain here as well, and your winds increasing as you're about 90 miles now away from the center of that storm. Fort Lauderdale, got a little cutoff right there. You're doing okay. Steady rain is just to your north. So this is a Category 1 hurricane. Hurricane hunters flew into this earlier this evening, determined that the winds were stronger, up to hurricane status, 75 miles per hour to Category 1. Pressure at 980, and it started moving just a little bit faster, around 13 miles per hour off towards the west. But we do think this is going to start to turn a little bit more northwest later on tonight and into tomorrow. There's that current wind field, those tropical storm force winds extending out 485 miles from the center of the storm. That is a huge storm radius, bigger than most notorious storms that you can think of outside of perhaps Superstorm Sandy. That had a slightly larger wind field on that one. Here are all the alerts. You probably know if you live there who's being affected by what, but places like Tampa, Tallahassee, Jacksonville, Charleston, Savannah, all under tropical storm warnings with a hurricane warning from about Boca all the way up to Daytona Beach. Storm surge, a big issue. We're going to have the battering waves on top of that, 3 to 5 feet at the height of this. The only real saving grace that we have is that low tide is going to be occurring around the same time as landfall when this comes ashore somewhere near West Palm. Now, we've had the heavy rainfall. A few spots have already seen 1 to 2 inches of rainfall. Those rainfall rates now increasing with the steadier rain and banding that's working its way onshore. This is going to move likely just south of Orlando tonight into tomorrow midday and then curve its way back up towards the north. Second landfall is going to be likely into the Big Bend, very vulnerable area to storm surge. If we get lucky here and keep this thing inland, that will be a weaker storm, and we won't be as concerned concerned about storm surge there, but that's what we got to be worried about. And of course, this works its way and accelerates through the Carolinas. You know, Jim, some of the worst flooding we could end up getting with this thing overall might be into the higher elevations across parts of the Appalachians. So a lot of population going to be impacted by this down the line. But we can see now you're getting hammered there with some pretty heavy rain.
Yeah, it is. It'll be a little bit of a different animal, Jackie, because remember, here we are in November. We've got some dry air that's going to continue to entrain into the system. But do we set up a band? Do we get a favored upslope area in southeastern Appalachia, you know, in places like Asheville or Greenville, you know, somewhere back in there where we could get, you know, several inches of rain, even though it's been bone dry. I mean, bone dry, which is why we've had a wonderful fall here. But you can go from drought to deluge. We've seen it happen time and time again, and this could be certainly an example of when it may happen again, bringing a tropical system back into the mid-latitudes. Again, guys, waiting on high tide here. Every once in a while, a set of waves comes in here, splashes over the top of the building, like you're seeing, runs up this road. It's kind of, this is an access road. You can drive on the beaches here, and you'll be able to do so after this, because that's all there'll be. But when this wave runs up like this, and then runs back down, you can just tell why it just keeps taking more and more sand. Listen, guys, we got a chance to talk to Chief Fowler earlier on this evening, and this is what he had to say about what he thinks he may find tomorrow once we go through these two high tide cycles.
Even at low tide, the surf is pounding on the dunes. We have so many seawalls that are down from Ian that as soon as the high tide comes with this wind, we're going to have big problems. There is a real risk that we're going to have a major structure go down in this area.
I mean, that's just a really strong statement, and it's certainly a scary one, and that's why they went in today. 11 large structures. I'm talking about condominiums. 200 people that hadn't left, okay, and they got all those folks out before they closed the bridges down at 7 p.m. tonight. But now we're watching, again, the wave action just continue to come in here, and at times even spray over the top of that building, that restroom facility there that has been falling. I mean, just look at the water and how it moves. I mean, it's just going to go wherever it wants. And when you start talking about that kind of power, it's going to get underneath structures. And remember, there are structures that are supported. Okay? First, you put the supports in, and then you build the structure and the walls around that. And what they're worried about is what's supporting these structures that may eventually take them into the Atlantic Ocean. All right, guys, again, our weather is going to continue to go downhill overnight. We're going to watch the center of circulation coming to shore more than likely after midnight down toward the Treasure Coast. But that means conditions to my west are going to go downhill as well late tonight and into tomorrow morning. That's where we find Justin Michaels, who's been covering this for us in Orlando. So, Justin, I mean, it's interesting. They just shut down everything. I mean, whether you're on the coast or not, and dealing with what I'm dealing with, right. They just shut down everything today at some point.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jim, it makes sense they did that because not just on the coast, but even here inland, they're doing everything they can to still recover from Ian. And you're going to hear from the mayor of Orlando, Buddy Dyer, in just a moment, talking about that because there was so much to do. It's kind of hard to imagine. I'm standing here along the banks of Lake Eola, right in the dead center of Orlando. You can see the fountain back there, and Lake Eola is just one of quite literally countless, hundreds of little lakes that speckle all of central Florida. And this lake flooded quite drastically. And in fact, all the dry land you see around here would have been underwater as those 20 inches of rain were falling from Ian. So recovery after Ian was ongoing as they started to learn about this storm called Nicole coming their way. And now we have this hurricane that's coming in this direction. The rain is really picking up throughout the course of this evening. For a little while there, we were definitely having some really tropical downpours like we experience during any tropical storm. And that's the way it's going to be overnight here. It's going to last all night long into tomorrow morning and even into early to mid-afternoon before this finally pushes off to the northwest. Listen to Mayor Buddy Dyer right now.
It's unfortunate that we're still cleaning up from Ian. We've had probably about 90% of the debris removed, so there's still a little bit of debris around, but we've lowered our lake levels. We're ready for whatever rain we're going to get. We don't think there's going to be a big wind event, but our citizens are ready as well.
All right, so let's talk about those rain totals. During Ian, it was like 20 inches. This storm, maybe 3 to 5. So we're talking about very different storms, very different animals, and very different threats. But I can tell you, people are taking precautions as far as going to get sandbags. They're still a little concerned about any rain coming their way, especially in the form of a tropical storm. So yes, sandbagging operations were going on around Orlando today. Also, this afternoon, the airport shut down at 4 o'clock, Jim, as you well know, and also Disney. All the Disney parks, Universal Studios, Orlando, SeaWorld, all of them shut down late this afternoon, early this evening. And then again, Jim, we were talking about this earlier. Going to Jim Cantori there in Daytona, he'll remember when he took his kids there. He talked about this earlier. His kids going to Disney, going to that character breakfast first thing in the morning. And Jim, no characters tomorrow morning, so the parents have their hands full. Into you.
They do have their hands full. As a matter of fact, it's probably going to be harder for some of those parents than it is for some of these folks to deal with the hurricane, believe it or not. Thank you, Justin. We appreciate that. I mean, this is this kid's world. Think about it. Mickey, Minnie in their younger years, and now they get a chance to meet him. And it's like, well, it's going to, explaining a delay to a child, if you're a parent, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's really no real good way of doing that. All right, you can see what's happening behind me here with this boiling ocean. Well, again, this is not just an issue for Volusia County. It goes all the way up to the First Coast and all the way down through the Treasure Coast, which is where we find Mike Seidel. Mike, down in Vero, may have, if you will, kind of the double pleasure of not only dealing with these high tide cycles and these battering waves, but also, Mike, you're going to be pretty close to the landfall area as well.
With the advisory, Nicole was at 26.6, so basically a beeline west towards Palm Beach, the center of Nicole, but it's moving at 280 and expected to turn a little bit northwest. So I think the center is going to go in just north of Palm Beach, which is about 70 miles, 60, 70 miles south of here. But we're going to get in the eye wall. Look at the radar right now. It's coming right at us. Reds and oranges. We've had one squall already. Our peak wind gust, there's a weather station about 5 minutes up the beach, 64 miles an hour. We've been sustained in the 40s, which is tropical storm force. So we've already had some decent wind. In fact, in Indian River County, just over 2,000 customers have lost power so far, 12,000 statewide. You can see the palm trees getting whipped by these winds. But look at the story. This has been the story since Sunday. We got out here. This is 4 days. So we're talking about, this is the 8th high tide that's eaten away at the beaches. We're talking winds that have been sustained at 20 to 25 since Sunday. The surf is coming up all the way up to the concrete wall here. And look at that. A wave splatters over the fence just a little bit. High tide now, low tide. Here's the key, and this is a good thing. The low tide is at 2:18 a.m. 2:18 a.m. as Nicole around that time makes landfall. So that's going to kind of cancel each other out and save us at least a couple feet of water here on the Treasure Coast. And also the flood watches inland the whole East Coast going until at least 1 p.m. tomorrow. So Mike Bettis, we've already had 4 days of this battering in the beach erosion. We've got to get through this high tide. Once Nicole goes by early in the morning, the winds will go offshore, and that will ease up the situation of these beaches here in Vero Beach.
Yeah, I'm sure there's so many people, Mike, they're in Florida or maybe visit Florida frequently, or they're just very fearful of what those beaches are going to look like come tomorrow and even the day after. We do have hurricane warnings in effect here, highlighted in purple on the east coast of Florida. Tropical storm warnings to go through the peninsula. Orlando, Tampa, Sarasota included. Tallahassee and Jacksonville also included in those tropical storm warnings. Look at the reach of the tropical storm force winds, more than 400 miles. Huge reach, small area of hurricane force winds, really confined right to the center truly. So that's not going to be but maybe 50 miles across, but we're going to get a lot of wind through Florida. Anticipate the power outages to go up quite a bit. Hitting us in Tallahassee, we got a lot of trees here that are eventually curving back off to the north and east. We do have storm surge. It's going to be a problem here. 3 to 5 feet of storm surge anticipated, and now it's been upped around the Big Bend of Florida as well. Another 3 to 5 feet for us as the center of circulation circulation may come off the coast there. Torcon of 3, so tornadoes also going to be a risk with a landfalling tropical system. Let's time it out for you. Center of circulation right there, even trying to form a bit of an eye, but right after, we think, midnight tonight, we get the landfall. It races across Florida. Winds will gust over 75 miles an hour. Midday to late in the day, we improve across South and Central Florida. The issues will be in North Florida, and then across the Mid-Atlantic and eventually the Northeast. Don't forget, we've got team coverage for you here on the Weather Channel all night long through landfall and beyond, and you can always watch us on the TWC streaming app as well.
We're headed to the playground.
Yeah, we're going to the playground.
Have fun.
Just like that.
You think I've never been to the playground?
Shop Best Buy and experience the magic of giving the perfect gift.
Meet the unstoppable Shark Hydrovac. It powerfully vacuums and high-speed mops all at the same time. With its self-cleaning antimicrobial brush roll and odor-neutralizing solution, it conquers all of life's messes. Shark Hydrovac, the unstoppable power of clean.
I get the recipe from my grandma.
My grandmother cooked gumbo, and I'm still cooking it today.
As a little girl, I would watch my grandmother and my mother.
It turned into something that I will forever cherish and share with my children.
Stover's makes you happy full.
Sorry, we're busy.
So busy.
So cheesy.
So creamy. What? We are busy. Busy eating this mac and cheese.
Stover's. If you still have symptoms of moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis or active psoriatic arthritis after a TNF blocker like Humira or Enbrel, Rinvoq is different and may help.
Stand up to your symptoms with Rinvoq. Rinvoq is a once-daily pill that tackles pain, stiffness, swelling. For some, Rinvoq significantly reduces RA and PSA fatigue.
It can stop further irreversible joint damage, and Rinvoq can leave skin clear or almost clear in PSA. That's Rinvoq Relief.
Rinvoq can lower your ability to fight infections, including TB, serious infections and blood clots, some fatal, cancers including lymphoma and skin cancer, death, heart attack, stroke, and tears in the stomach or intestines occurred. People 50 and older with at least one heart disease risk factor have higher risks. Don't take if allergic to Rinvoq, as serious reactions can occur. Tell your doctor if you are or may become pregnant.
Ask your rheumatologist for Rinvoq. Rinvoq. Make it your mission. Learn how AbbVie could help you save.
Well, heard my baby sister's buying a car. You'll need my secret weapon.
Gross, no. Anyway, I already used Capital One Auto Navigator. Found my car online and got pre-qualified instantly.
That's pretty cool.
What's in your wallet?
New Eggo Liège style waffles. A no toaster needed grab and go breakfast. Lego with Eggo.
I recommend Nature Made vitamins because I trust their quality. They were the first to be verified by USP, an independent organization that sets strict quality and purity standards. Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand.
You got KFC, mijo.
This drum and thigh combo is only $6.
Good deal. For you. But you bring nothing home for your abuelita.
You okay?
No.
Hurry, this $6 deal ends soon.
It's a fact. No other news network out there is trusted more than the Weather Channel. And America doesn't trust hurricane season to just anyone.
Those may look like handprints on your Blair sweater, but you just see happiness. Blair clothing is meant to be lived in. It fits your life. Wet paws, unconditional love. A little mulch, a day well spent. Blair also fits you. Easy to wear with flattering styles. Easy to love with comfy fits. And easy to buy with great prices. The Blair Fit, clothing that fits your life, body, and budget. Get 25% off and free shipping at Blair.com with promo code Blair25.
This year, we're not waiting for Black Friday. Get the best prices right now at LL Flooring's Better Than Black Friday sale. With up to 25% off over 300 floors, including waterproof and hardwood, and no interest for 36 months. Now's the time to get floors that are in style and in your budget. The Better Than Black Friday sale ends November 15th. Hurry in to get the floors you'll love and get up to 25% off. Your expert from inspiration to installation, LL Flooring.
stronger surge and stronger storms makes a stronger hurricane season. You know what else is getting stronger? The #1 most trusted TV news network, the Weather Channel. Now available for anyone to stream on the new and improved TV app.
This is epic!
With real-time radar and maps to track all the action. Trust the strength in numbers. The Weather Channel, available on these platforms. Go to streamtwc.com to start your free 7-day trial.
It's not unusual that we get erosion. It's pretty unusual we get it this badly.
Whoa, there goes a tree. There it goes. All right, guys, we are dealing with high tide here at Daytona Beach Shores, just the beginning of it, and this water is unbelievable how it's come up. It took down that structure with this morning's high tide, but what we've noticed, my cameraman Matt Safer noticed, on this building is it's sinking in even further. So go back to where, if you will, the men's room was, and you can see the much larger crack. Instead of just like a hairline fracture, now it's moved. So the whole building has sank even further. Which makes sense, right? You've got these waves running up. They're taking out the structures that are supporting that building from underneath, and so there's no place to go but down. And that's what's happening, and that's really the main concern of what we had today here. And that's why they evacuated whoever was left in 11 condominiums over this 5-mile beach. And wow, look at this. We just had a wave spray up here that came around the building. So again, water's getting higher. The water's getting higher with the tide, and that means the waves on top of that are breaking in even further on. So we're undermining even this, which is why this building, Pirates Cove, was one of the 11 that was evacuated. They got everybody out, as you heard from the sheriff, or the chief, the chief of police. Very, very successful at that. But still, it's scary when you think about the fact that you've got to evacuate condominium, those type of structures that may be compromised. This is pretty amazing, guys, when you look at this, and this is just one little section that we can show you because we've got power here tonight on Daytona Beach Shores. Jackie, I mean, look at this water coming in. I mean, imagine this under a condominium where you've kind of gotten underneath the footings now, and you're just going in, grabbing the sand, and pulling it back out. It's only a matter of time.
And you can't see what's happening underneath there, Jim, to see how much of that might be hollowing out and what more damage is being done. We're approaching high tide in many locations, including you right there. We've got surge, moderate tide taking place at Southport Everglades right now. We've got surge reported moderate in Hollywood Beach in that area and Lake Worth Pier right now, too. So this is a very dangerous time for folks. If you have not evacuated from these areas, if you're next to the shore, you got to get away from the water. You got to stay inside and got to stay off the roads. This is really the height of what we could be seeing for some of the worst surge, even though the storm isn't on top of you just yet because of that high tide coinciding with all this. Low tide is actually going to be coinciding with landfall, so hopefully that helps us out just a little bit. But this is not just a coastal storm. We're going to have a lot of impacts that are going to be going inland, and we're going to be seeing more damaging winds. We're going to be seeing more flooding and more surge, and that includes a place right here like Charleston, South Carolina. Charleston, I know that storm is going to be well to your west. It's going to be inland at closest approach for you, but because of the large wind field on this storm, we're going to have persistent onshore flow here and water level rises and storm surge that could reach a couple of feet above what is normally dry ground. And we know Charleston in particular is very vulnerable to flooding in general. A lot of times getting that sunny day flooding or the king tide flooding. Of course, we're right around full moon right now too, which doesn't help the situation. Here's a look at the forecast track. So once we get to the coast, we're going to work probably south of Orlando. Orlando, maybe get back over open water, curve on up through Georgia, work our way inland through the Carolinas. There you can see the surge forecast that I was talking about around Charleston that could be 2 to 4 feet. Myrtle Beach, Surf City, we're talking 1 to 2 feet for you. The winds have been gusty already. Those will continue to pick up here overnight tonight and through the day tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a nasty, raw day with that cool flow. And then our winds change direction as this passes to the west, and we'll have more of a southerly flow. You'll be done with it before the weekend is out. We also have to talk about the risk of tropical tornadoes. Those are going to work their way northward. In fact, by tomorrow morning, we could start seeing some more action that way. With the heating of the day of the afternoon, that will become more of an issue as it works its way northward. So torcons of 2s and 3s, especially to the right of the center of where the storm is going to be. So there you can see some of these bands. A lot of times we'll get little spin-ups or little water spouts that can develop over water. Once they work their way on shore, that becomes a tornado that can and does cause damage. These tend to be wrapped in rain, very difficult to see, and we're going to get some really heavy rain over the higher terrain into the Appalachians. That may ultimately be where we see our heaviest rainfall amounts and flood risk.
The chef's chicken sandwiches at Panera, freshly prepared with clean ingredients, spark an explosion of the senses. So when you finally taste it, it just confirms this is fantastic. And only at Panera. $1 delivery fee on our app.
Hey, so what if we have questions about our policy?
And what if it's late at night?
And what if someone still calls us mom for everything?
At State Farm, we're there for your what ifs. Hey, Mom.
Who?
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or click to get a quote today.
They say you eat with your eyes first, so here's a good look at our new thick and fluffy French toast. Artisan challah dipped in vanilla cinnamon batter. French toast the way it's meant to be. Try all 3 flavors. Only at IHOP. Download the app and earn free food with every purchase.
Dude, you coming?
Because the only thing dripping should be your style. Plop, plop, fizz, fizz. With Alka-Seltzer Plus Cold and Flu Relief. Also try for Fizzy Fast Cough Relief.
Did you know Google makes a phone? Sure, it's beautiful, but it does things other phones can't do, which is how it helps take annoying items out of pictures. Introducing our newest Google Pixel phones. Switch to Verizon and get Google Pixel 7 Pro on them with select trade-in and 5G unlimited plans.
Introducing Domino's new leftovers. It's the same delicious pizza you expect from Domino's, but instead of eating it all tonight, you save some for tomorrow. Sure, it's hot and melty and really delicious, but resist the temptation and you have Domino's leftovers. Domino's leftovers are delicious straight from the toaster oven. They're delicious straight from the skillet.
Who reheats cold pizza?
Right now, you can try Domino's leftovers yourself and you get 2 medium 2-topping pizzas for $6.99 each. Enjoy one tonight, love one tomorrow.
Dry, cracked lips? Burt's Bees Lip Balm moisturizes for 12 hours. Made with responsibly sourced beeswax for a difference you can feel. Swipe after swipe. Seriously good stuff from the naturally loved lip care brand, Burt's Bees.
This is beautiful. You ready, babe?
Can you hear me calling out your name? You know that I'm falling and I don't know what to say. I wanna be with you.
From Bolt to Blazer, Equinox to Silverado, Chevy EVs are for everyone, everywhere.
When I first started Ancestry, I had no idea what to expect. Ethnicity inheritance. Nigerian East Central from you. Benin, my dad's side, is 30% Japanese. Thank you, Mom.
I love how it gives you a little bit of history.
Yeah, I feel like reading this, like, these are my roots. There's just still so much to discover.
Discover even more during our holiday sale.
You need a bed that's smart enough for both of you. The Sleep Number 360 Smart Bed senses your movements and automatically adjusts to help keep you both effortlessly comfortable. Our smart sleepers get 28 minutes more restful sleep per night. Don't miss our weekend special. Save 40% on the Sleep Number 360 Special Edition Smart Bed. Ends Monday.
This holiday, make no mistake, everything here is Philadelphia cheesecake. Cheesecake is everything. Bake your own.
I'm Mike Corey. I travel the world to carve a path for those who aren't afraid to get a little bit dirty.
That is the train!
Let's go on an uncharted adventure.
And welcome back to our continuing coverage as we track Hurricane Nicole. We want to get you caught up with what we know at this hour. Nicole makes 2 landfalls, one as a tropical storm, another as a hurricane in the Bahamas. Before its Florida landfall expected overnight tonight, our Florida Governor Ron DeSantis issuing a state of emergency now for 45 counties. The St. Lucie Sheriff's Office tells us storm surge has breached the seawall along Indian River Drive. And Florida's Emergency Management Agency says several large structures will probably come down with this system. So that's been one of the big concerns here for tonight, is that we've had a lot of beach erosion. It has been working at it all day long, but now we're beginning to focus in on some of the heavy rain bands that have been making their way onshore. Want to get to our Justin Michaels, who is live in Orlando, Florida right now. I know they've made some updates to opening things back up at Disney tomorrow, which is currently closed right now. That's Justin.
Right. That's right. Finally, some updates from Disney. This will be good for parents and families to know what's going on. As far as Disney Park, the actual Magic Kingdom, it's opening up at noon tomorrow, and other parks are opening up at noon or 1. So make sure you check with the park that you're going to be attending. And the schedule is posted now on how and when they're going to be reopening. Also, what things still may not be available as far as different events that are happening. So just check the park's websites out, and you'll get your full story on how you can continue your vacation. And of course, that is what this place is for. This is an international city. People come here from all over the place, and that's why getting the messaging out on heeding the warnings, knowing what to do, knowing where to go, knowing who to listen to is so important. Now, for people who do call this home, planning and making sure they knew what they were doing is also important, especially after living through Ian just a few weeks ago. 20 inches of rain falling back then. This storm is very different, not going to dump that much, but people still have those memories of Ian in their mind. So sandbagging was going on across the city today, giving people a little bit of help where they may need it as far as sealing off their windows and doors. Listen to Rosemary right now.
I'm worried about the water coming in from the last hurricane. We had some water damage, so I'm trying to prevent some more water damage this time around. I don't think it's going to be as bad as before, but again, water does a good amount of damage.
And the water Rosemary is talking about has been coming down now for quite a while. It's a little light right now, but we've had these rolling just waves of these tropical downpours come through, and we know that's going to continue for the rest of the night, all the way through tomorrow morning and even into early afternoon tomorrow as we go to Jim Cantori in Daytona. Jim, nowhere near out of the woods here in Orlando anytime soon. Best thing to do, hunker down at home, maybe even stay home from the office first thing in the morning. Hopefully the afternoon should be clearing up pretty nicely here, and then the weekend should be nice as well. Jim, to you now in Daytona.
Yeah, work from home day sounds good, and that's a great point, Justin, to tell everybody, listen, we're not keeping you out through the weekend. Come back, when they allow you to, come back. And as far as the case here, it may be a little longer than the weekend. We'll just have to see. I mean, they'll have to get in here with engineers and actually test these structures and make sure that they are safe after the water starts receding. It's doing nothing but coming in now. I mean, look at this high tide, just rolling right through here, in some cases splashing over the tops of some of these buildings. Just incredible watching this wave action. So it's not only the waves coming in and breaking on the beach, but then you've got this longshore current. I mean, you can literally look beyond the lifeguard stand there and watch the water go from to the left to the right. I mean, it's just flowing like a river down along the coastline here. I would call that longshore current. So the waves come in, they beat up the coast, they pull stuff out, and then the longshore current takes it down to Miami. Unbelievable pile of water here. Excuse me, as we continue to watch it coming out. Let's show you earlier on today what it looked like, because, at the time of low tide, you could see a little bit more of what actually happened, because the water did come out a little bit. That's not the case now, because it's in here so far. And as it's come in, you know that more damage is being done. And that's the big concern, and that was the big worry today because they evacuated these buildings. And I mean, that's just so powerful to me. I can't even imagine that they were so concerned about the structures themselves falling. And we're talking about condominiums, that they actually had to come in here and evacuate people out of this. Again, guys, this one restroom here that's given way earlier today at the morning high tide has cracked and fallen even a little.
angioedema with an ACE or ARB. The most serious side effects are angioedema, low blood pressure, kidney problems, or high blood potassium. Ask your doctor about Entresto.
I think we went too high.
Kia, movement that inspires.
Spicy buns, spicy sauce, spicy seasoning, spicy jalapenos, ooh, spicy fries. Boy, Arby's getting loose with the spice on the new Diablo sandwiches and fries. Arby's, we have the meats.
Looking for something like this?
Superheroes are everywhere, in our movies, communities, and running our small businesses. And they can grow online securely with MasterCard tools, extending their reach far beyond the storefront. Because when you see the superhero you can be, that's priceless. MasterCard is proud to support Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Check off all the tech on your list with great prices all season long. Shop Black Friday deals right now at Best Buy.
I get bladder leaks. I didn't want to feel like I was wearing the pads I wore when I was 12.
Then I tried the Always Discreet pads.
They fit perfectly in the place they're supposed to.
Look how much it holds, and it still stays thin.
It's the protection we deserve.
Hi, Grandma. I played baseball today.
Oh, that's great.
What position did you play? First base.
That's what Grandpa used to play. When our hearing wouldn't allow us to use a regular phone, it made us feel isolated.
It became difficult to communicate with our friends and family.
Clear Captions was an easy solution for us.
Clear Captions provides captions on a phone like captioning on your TV, so you can see what the caller is saying live as they say it.
Making it easy to understand and respond immediately. There is no insurance or Medicare required. Clear Captions service is provided at no cost to you through a federally funded program. We deliver, install, and train you on how to use your phone, all at no cost to you. Give your loved ones the independence and connection they deserve. Call now to see if you qualify to get a Clear Captions phone at no cost to you. Call 1-800-351-2640. That's 1-800-351-2640.
It's a fact. No other news network out there is trusted more than the Weather Channel.
This is epic!
Trusted to be there, where and when you need us. Trusted to work around the clock until every threat is over.
I'm going to show you how powerful the winds are.
Because America doesn't trust hurricane season to just anyone.
New video into the Weather Channel right now from Martin County, Florida. You can see water crashing over the Jensen Parkway there in Martin County. Waves crashing like so much of Florida's East Coast as Hurricane Nicole continues to batter the coast. To give you some perspective on where this is on the coast, Martin County is the kind of the area between Vero Beach and also Palm Beach. So definitely in the bullseye when it comes to the effects of this storm. Video again proving the point that you should be staying home if you can. Being out and being crashed by those waves is not what you want on Jensen Parkway. I'm Justin Michaels, live for you right now, Orlando, Florida, and we find ourselves yet again in an area where we have no rain coming down, even though multiple times throughout the course of this evening we had intense tropical downpours coming. But don't let this little dry spell make you think that this is over. We've got a long way to go, folks. In fact, as far as timing here in Orlando, we've got all night tonight into tomorrow morning and even into tomorrow afternoon before we finally start to see this clearing away and pushing off to the northwest and eventually making another landfall in the United States up in the Big Bend area of Florida. So Nicole's story is long, long away from being fully written. We've got a long way to go. The number one goal, staying safe, staying in, and trying to avoid any opportunities to put yourselves, your loved ones, your friends, your family in danger. Disney will be reopening tomorrow. It's been closed since earlier this evening. Disney reopens tomorrow at noon. Other parks opening like Epcot around 1. Make sure, Mike, that if you are a family or a group that is enjoying the Magic Kingdom and the other amenities here in this part of Florida, just to check with the websites. They have full reopening guidelines already set up. So, yes, the storm is not over, but we're seeing a little light at the end of this tunnel, Mike. Into you now.
Always important to plan ahead, right? And they certainly do a good job of that at the parks. Justin, thank you for that. So with updates on the very latest we know with Nicole, 75-mile-per-hour Category 1 hurricane. We'll get another update from the Hurricane Center in about an hour or so at 10 o'clock Eastern time. Western movement at 13 miles per hour, 980 is the pressure. You can see how it's all north loaded. It's been that way basically its whole history here. It's come across the Bahamas here as a Category 1, now taking dead aim at the east coast of Florida. A rare November landfalling hurricane force. We anticipate landfall roughly just after midnight or so, and you can see we've already got some really heavy rain that's rolling on to the east coast here. In West Palm, gust to 28, in Melbourne, gust to 43, at Abuhi offshore, 54. Up around Jacksonville, winds are gusting almost 40 miles an hour. And take a look at this. You see all the yellow that's on this map? 400-plus mile reach of tropical storm force winds. There'll be a much smaller core of hurricane force winds, but this thing is affecting multiple states, and it's done this now for days, this onshore flow, especially into Florida. It's why we've lost so much beach. There's been so much erosion. Hurricane warnings remain in effect in purple, red, tropical storm warnings. That include Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville, Tallahassee. Look at the surge that we're about to see. It's starting to be maximized now that we've had high tide this evening along the east coast here. 3 to 5 feet. Don't forget 3 to 5 feet possible here along the Big Bend, and then 2 to 4 feet as you work your way up into the Carolinas as well. And then, of course, there'll be the heavy rain that comes along with it here from Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm to Okeechobee, all the way up to Jacksonville. We advise you, Jackie, with the high winds in the forecast and a lot of rain in the forecast, driving, the last thing you want to do, stay off the highways unless absolutely necessary.
We're going to have some big travel trouble, too, across the northern part of the U.S. We've got some new video in of the snow in western Montana. Check out the conditions in the city of Missoula earlier today. More of the same is expected. And this storm is moving eastward. They're still under a winter storm warning here until 8 o'clock, so a little ways to go on that. This is the same winter storm that brought all the snow across the Sierra, all the snow across the Four Corners, and now it's poised to bring incredible amounts of snowfall and wind across parts of the northern plains and upper Midwest. Low pressure developing somewhere in here. Look at what a dynamic system this is. We've got thunder, freezing rain, and rain underway in parts of South Dakota. Ice storm warnings in effect where we get somewhere between 1/4 of an inch to maybe as much as 1/2 of an inch of ice, and then blizzard warnings for places like Bismarck. This all gets started overnight tonight as that energy lifts out of the Rockies and works into the upper Midwest. More than a foot of snow will be possible in northeastern parts of North Dakota. Travel not advised here. It is going to be difficult, if not impossible, and most certainly it is going to be dangerous. The winds are going to be gusting maybe as strong as 50 to 55 miles per hour. That's what's going to help to create the visibility problems and whiteout conditions. That pink is that freezing rain, and so a lot of folks starting out as rain, then freezing rain, then the snow on top of it, so you get this glaze of ice on the roadways, snow on top of it, and can really catch you off guard. This all begins to wind up Thursday night and into our Friday, and this is the same system that's going to help to sweep out Nicole.
Dancing is everything. Soccer is the best.
But her moderate to severe eczema could make it hard for her.
Now I'm staying ahead of it.
Dupixent helps heal your skin from within so they can have clearer skin and less itch. Serious allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Tell your doctor about new or worsening eye problems such as eye pain or vision changes, including blurred vision, joint aches and pain, or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop asthma medicines without talking to your doctor. Ask your doctor about Dupixent.
Did you know Google makes a phone? Sure, it's beautiful, but it does things other phones can't do, which is how it takes stunning photos in the dark, can edit annoying items out of pictures, and unblur faces. Why, it'll even put some of that genius in your ears, or on your wrist. Beautifully, of course. Introducing the new Google Pixel Watch, Google Pixel Buds Pro, and our newest Google Pixel phones. Switch to Verizon and get Google Pixel 7 Pro on them with select trade-in and 5G unlimited plans.
Meet Leon the Third, Leon the Second, and Leon the First of them all. 3 generations who all bank differently with Chase. Leon's saving up for his first set of wheels. Nice try.
Really?
This Leon's paying for his paint job on the spot. And this Leon, as a Chase private client, he's in the south of France taking out cash with no ATM fees. That's because this family of Leons has Chase.
Actually, it's Leon.
Ooh la la. One bank for now, for later, for life. Chase, make more of what's yours.
I have moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now, there's Skyrizi. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clearer skin at 4 months after just 2 doses.
Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, had a vaccine, or plan to.
Talk to your dermatologist about Skyrizi. Learn how AbbVie could help you save.
I recommend Nature Made vitamins because I trust their quality. They were the first to be verified by USP, an independent organization that sets strict quality and purity standards. Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist recommended vitamin and supplement brand.
Are you okay?
Oh, it's just a cold.
If you have high blood pressure, a cold is not just a cold. Coracetin is the #1 doctor-recommended cold and flu brand, specially designed for people with high blood pressure. Be there for life's best moments. Trust Coracetin.
The refrigerator is Greg's happy place.
My kids eat, but I finally figured it out.
We can get all that we need, and then a little bit more at Walmart.
Uh-oh. Now this is going to be... I get bladder leaks. I didn't want to feel like I was wearing the pads I wore when I was 12.
Then I tried the Always Discreet pads.
They fit perfectly in the place they're supposed to.
Look how much it holds, and it still stays thin.
It's the protection we deserve.
Introducing Domino's new leftovers. It's the same delicious pizza you expect from Domino's, but instead of eating it all tonight, you save some for tomorrow. Sure, it's hot and melty and really delicious, but resist the temptation and you have Domino's leftovers. Domino's leftovers are delicious straight from the toaster oven.
Just on record on the east coast of Florida. It's almost the official end of hurricane season. We've got all the impacts and all the pictures on the coast. Jim?
Even though we're over 200 miles from the center of Hurricane Nicole, it doesn't matter. The damage is done with the wave action here, enough so that they had to evacuate who was left in 11 condominiums today on Daytona Beach shores. We'll let you know how that went and the worry from the public information officer coming up.
Nicole not only battering the coast, but also central Florida. I'm Justin Michaels in Orlando, Florida, where many preparations went into the day leading into this storm, all with the goal of keeping people safe. We'll talk about that coming up.
Now just hours away from Nicole making landfall. Hurricane Nicole here lurking over the Bahamas with rain and wind already moving into Florida. Got a long way to go with this system, and you see the hurricane warnings in effect here. Hurricane warnings in effect here from Boca Raton up to Flagler and Volusia, the Flagler-Volusia County line there in Florida. So several counties on the East Coast here. And all of that red into Georgia, South Carolina, and most of Florida. Tropical storm warnings, tropical storm conditions expected, hurricane conditions expected for some. And we expect to get the very latest right now from our hurricane expert and former director of the National Hurricane Center, Dr. Rick Knapp.
Yeah, Chris, this is playing out kind of how you and I expected last night. A gradual strengthening today made it to hurricane, and it is a large system, and the beach erosion and the pounding that we're getting outside of the cone to the north has really delivered, unfortunately, and it's just beginning. As long as of a day as it has been along the east coast of Florida, we have more yet to go, and we are at about high tide astronomically right now. So the timing of landfall relative to high tide isn't exactly lined up, but it's kind of close enough. Moving west at 13, so we're still a few hours from landfall. Be after midnight sometime, it looks like. Depends on exactly what trajectory it takes, but we already have this expansive wind field on land. So we've had tropical storm conditions occurring South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida for a long time, and we've got a long way to go. And we still have the storm surge warnings up, not just on the east coast of Florida, but here in the Big Bend area because of the shape of the track. You'll get it here in the Big Bend after it comes by. You'll get the onshore flow there, but we're getting tremendous onshore flow here way to the north of where the center will be coming ashore here in the next few hours. And again, we're going to get a new track and intensity forecast from the Hurricane Center by 10 p.m. Eastern time, so within the hour. But this was the 4 p.m. Eastern time advisory. This is valid at 1 a.m. Eastern time. So, on the right side of the cone, it'll take longer to make landfall. Left side of the cone, it will come a little sooner. But because of that angle, it's hard to pinpoint the exact time and location. And we're going to have the other water problem and in some of the same areas due to the heavy rainfall-induced flooding. Now, 3 to 5 feet of saltwater flooding, that's what has been forecast by the Hurricane Center. And you realize these highest values if the greatest onshore push, the storm surge itself from the storm, happens at the time of highest astronomical tide. Now, we're not going to have that quite lined up, but kind of close. Now, Trident Pier here, this gauge here at Port Canaveral, peaked a little while ago at 2.5 feet. And that was because of the increasing surge of the approaching hurricane and high astronomical tide. Now, over the next 3 hours, we're going to lose a couple of feet due to the astronomical tide going to low tide. And so that's a good, we're catching a break in that regard. But we're still going to have tremendous onshore push going through multiple high tide cycles into tomorrow. Here is the shot of the hurricane on the radar, and we've got that onshore push there happening into places like Vero Beach, where it is gusting over 40 miles an hour. So our Mike Seidel, who's there in Vero Beach, this is the pounding that the beaches have been taking, and we got a long way to go, Mike. How bad has the erosion been?
It's pretty bad. They've lost a lot of sand. They lost 4 feet of dune. We had part of a dune left yesterday when we wrapped up. We had another high tide. We've had 2 high tides since then, and now this third one, and that dune is gone. And we have occasionally a wave will come up and splash over the fence. There was a big drop down here. This drops down. So the waves come up, hit this, and splash over. Get a load of the surf behind me. Boy, the Atlantic is, this is pretty rough, pretty sporty for November. And remember, once this makes landfall, it's going to be the latest on record on the east coast of Florida. So we got the pounding of the waves. It is just not today. This going really started back on Sunday. Not like this, but the tides are running a little bit higher. I checked out the surf cams on Sunday before I got on the plane. I'm like, oh my gosh, not only here, but all the way up to Jacksonville. So as Dr. Dodd mentioned, how large this storm is, and we got the tropical storm watches up 2 states north of here. So it gives you an idea. It's not a very small, compact storm. It really has some of the characteristics of a nor'easter, where you have winds extending far from the center. Now that center is going to make landfall after midnight south of here, between here and the Palm Beaches, probably around Stewart, maybe Jensen Beach, that area. But we're already, as you can see on the radar, getting into the outer eye walls, and heavier rain now pelting me. Winds are sustained about 35 to 40 miles an hour. Weather station up the coast has gusted to 64 miles an hour. Power outages have ramped up slowly. Last time I checked, we had about 8,000 in Florida. So not a lot of power out at this point. And the other issue is the rainfall. Inland areas, we have flood watches up in this area until 1 p.m. tomorrow, so watch out in the morning. If you don't have to go out, there'll be standing water around. But once the storm goes by us overnight, then the winds are going to go offshore. They'll come around at the southwest, and that will take care of any more surge issues. We have the storm surge warning, 3 to 5 feet, and the good thing, as we've discussed, the low tide here is at 2:18 a.m. Eastern, and that's going to be roughly the time Nicole makes landfall. But before Nicole makes landfall, we get this push of water with this north to northeast wind. The winds have come more north than northeast, and that'll blow the water more parallel to the coast than at the coast. That helps out just a smidgen. So we got a lot going on out here. It's hard to believe it's November. And remember, we had no storms, no named storms in August. Then we had Ian on September 28th, and then it was quiet in October, and here we are heading into we're in the second week of November. Up the coast, too. I mentioned how large the footprint is of this storm. We got Jim Cantore up at Daytona Shores, where they've seen buildings literally falling into the ocean. Jim?
What a day it has been. Wave after wave after wave, tearing away at more of the beaches here at Daytona Beach Shores. Just showing you here the power of the water, which has already come in and compromised this building. And this building is really a good example of what the big worry was here today at Daytona Beach Shores. Enough so that around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, they put out a big evacuation order for the condominiums, about 11 of them, where they wanted to take whoever was left in those buildings that didn't mandatory evacuate out. There was about 200 people that they got out of these buildings before the bridges closed at 7 p.m. tonight. But it's for exactly what you're seeing behind me here. Not for a small restroom, but for a condominium where you undermine the support of the structure and the structure collapses. That's what they're concerned about on some of these condominiums tonight and tomorrow morning with the high tide. So that's the big deal. We got a chance to talk to the Chief Public Information Officer here of Daytona Beach Shores, and this is what he had to say about his concern with these buildings.
We were just able to complete the evacuation. We had 6 additional structures that were deemed to be unsafe by our chief building official this afternoon. It took us several hours. It took the help of the Volusia Sheriff's Office to come in. We went door to door in each one of those. Every one of them was a high-rise condo. Unfortunately, we had about 200 people who had not heeded the warning and the mandatory evacuation that was issued. They were supposed to have left on their own starting at 10 o'clock this morning. We ended up with very labor-intensive work to get done.
Again, some pretty strong words there from the police chief, Michael Fowler, on what he wants people to do and why he really came out and gave that. I mean, when you think about it, to issue an evacuation order for a structure that they don't feel is sound, that's a pretty strong statement, but that's how much this place has been beat. But it's not just Volusia County. It's the First Coast, it's the Space Coast, it's all the way down to the Treasure Coast. And so many of these areas, miles and miles and miles of beaches, have been undermined by the wave action that you're seeing in through here. So again, tomorrow morning, the storm will be on shore. We will continue to watch the high tide in the morning, and then things will change a little bit. Our wind will come more off the land, so it should have a friction component with it, and maybe even beat down these waves a little bit, and so that the evening high tide cycle of Thursday night will be a lot calmer for a lot of folks. Either way, you wonder what structures will make it through the night, and you wonder which ones won't. We'll find out tomorrow at first light. Reporting from Daytona Beach Shores, I'm meteorologist Jim Cantore.
Okay, Jim, thanks for the report up there at Daytona Beach Shores. Back here in Vero Beach, the surf, it's just, the pictures are, unreal, considering it is a couple weeks before Thanksgiving and we're dealing with a hurricane, a Cat 1 hurricane. With that said, we also have to deal with a heavy rainfall. Big difference here versus, say, Orlando is the Ian had impacts on the beaches, but that big slug of rain missed Vero Beach to the north and then off to the northeast. So they didn't get that 13, 14 inches of rain that they had up in central Florida. So if you look at the year-to-date rainfall in this area here in Vero Beach, they're down about a foot of rain. So it's drier here, certainly, versus what they had with the rainfall in Orlando. So, Dr. Nab, just a wild night out here. And I mentioned earlier that I covered Ida, and then I covered Ada. But I've never covered a hurricane. Nobody's covered a hurricane, if you think about it, this late in November on the east coast of Florida.
Yeah, it is amazing how this season has been so second half loaded, right? No storms in August, and here we are with 3 hurricanes in the basin in November and an east coast landfall on Florida. Not as late as Kate on the Gulf of Mexico in 1985, but certainly a reminder of why the hurricane season goes till the end of November. We do get a lot of systems in the Caribbean, but not usually forming north of the Caribbean, coming at Florida from the east. And again, Mike Seidel and I have both been talking about how the timing of low tide with when landfall is probably going to occur is going to help us out a little bit, because this gauge near Cape Canaveral peaked at about 2.5 feet when we hit astronomical high tide a little bit ago. But now it looks like it's peaked out and might be just either staying steady or coming down a little bit, and then by midnight or so, we'll be at low astronomical tide. That'll shave a couple feet off, but the storm will be closer. So, we're catching a little bit of a break there, but not completely, and the beach erosion's happening anyway because of this 1,500-mile-long fetch of east to west winds, and then on the business end of the storm, we're getting the bona fide storm surge into the east coast of Florida. So again, looking at the satellite, you don't get quite the sense of what is happening. The hurricane looks a little bit more the part on the radar as it's gone over Grand Bahama. And so here's the center. We still got a few hours to go before landfall, but we've had tropical storm force winds happening all day, and that onshore push has been going on for hours, and these winds will be on the increase, gusting over 40 here on the east coast of central Florida, Vero Beach, up through the Cape Canaveral area, even in the Orlando area, gusting over 30, and that will be increasing overnight into tomorrow. Daytona's gusting over 40. St. Augustine near 40 miles an hour, and we've had all kinds of problems here on the coastline up Daytona into St. Augustine, as Jim was showing us, even up into the Jacksonville area. You look at this at Mayport Naval Air Station. We've got gusts near 50 miles an hour, and we've had the storm surge going into St. Johns River. Now, here is the trough that's going to eventually pick this system up. Here it is being pushed into Florida by the ridge, but this trough is going to turn it. So here's our high pressure system coming off the northeast coast, and that gradient from the mid-Atlantic all the way down to Nicole in Florida, that's why we've got this tremendous onshore push. Now, looking at what's going on in the southeast coast right now, we were getting gusts 20 to 30 miles an hour even on the coast of Georgia and South Carolina. And once this system turns to the right, then we're going to have an onshore push that's even stronger up there. So that's why the storm surge watch goes all the way up into Savannah and Charleston, because with this shape of the track, you're going to have an even stronger onshore push once the system makes that turn, even though it's going to weaken. And then as it goes by the Florida Big Bend, you get an onshore push, and that's why the storm surge warning there for tomorrow and tomorrow night into Friday morning. And we could have 2 to 4 feet saltwater flooding up in the Charleston area, depending on the timing with high tide, 3 to 5 feet in the Big Bend area. Now, look at all the folks who are at significant risk of getting sustained winds of tropical storm force greater than a 50-50 shot well inland over central and northern Florida, even into southern Georgia, and then the wind risk goes down once you go from there. But here's the other water component that could be significant, especially in areas that get the saltwater flooding and get a lot of rain. But inland areas could get some significant locally flash flooding in urban areas and in some of the streams, but this problem will go up into Georgia and South Carolina, and we could have a significant amount of rainfall here in Central Florida. Not as bad as with Ian, but certainly adding to the problems that this very large storm will bring to us. We've got team coverage continuing on Nicole.
Camille, Ivan, Katrina, Sally, Zeta. Seen a lot of storms. You have all this beauty and tranquility. The storms come in and they change everything. When it shows up on your doorstep, our role is to respond quickly. We take weather data and use that to pre-position resources on the ground. I feel our role is to provide solutions, or to guide to where resources are, to provide a way forward. To put quite simply, it's just to help. Been an Allstate agent for 28 years. My father was an Allstate agent for 34 years. He taught me to take care of your customer. You do that one thing, and everything else will take care of itself. We want to be the calm after the storm.
Order up, order up. Ticket, next. Order up, go, go. Next in line. Watch the blinks.
Yeah, I am stressed, Fitbit. Breathe. Listen to your body. Feel your power. Fitbit by Google.
A breakfast croissant plus seasoned potatoes for $3, and they're redshirting you?
It's just a standard work shirt.
Hey, way to stay humble, man.
Thank you, Reg.
Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's $3 breakfast deal.
Thank you, Nature Made, for seeing that life is a little chaotic and creating new targeted blends to help. So when